Elliot picked up his knife and fork. Juice came seeping out of the steak when the knife went into it without resistance. The aroma grew stronger, making his mouth water. He forked a piece into his mouth and chewed down on the steak. Delicious meat juices immediately gushed into his mouth. The fragrance of the black pepper complemented the beef to perfection, and the delicious flavor dancing on the tip of his tongue put an involuntary smile on his face. This flavor was simply incredible. The gourmet food he had eaten in the wind forest couldn't compete with this. He could tell from the tender meat that it had come from a strong iron-hide bull. The scent of red wine mingled with the aroma of the steak, flooding Elliot's nostrils. The delicious steak seemed to be capable of making him forget all of his worries. After swallowing the mouthful of beef, he felt as if a flow of warmth had slid down his throat, filling his entire body with a warm sensation. The steak was so irresistible that he simply couldn't stop eating. Ding! The fork clattered on the plate. Elliot was surprised to find his plate already empty. He looked like he hadn't had anywhere near enough. Never thought food could be this good. Now I know what's keeping Sally here, Elliot thought to himself. Elliot put down his knife and fork and picked up the glass of beer. It was golden and translucent, a third of the glass taken up by white froth. Is it ale? Elliot brought the glass to his nose and took a sniff. Smells like ale, only milder. A refined version of ale? He took a sip. The beer was smooth and reinvigorating, but did not lack body. It carried with it a smooth bitter tang, but there was no bitter aftertaste, and he was drawn into drinking another large mouthful. Elliot tilted his head back and gulped down the rest of the beer, leaving only a layer of bubbles behind. Elliot burped, and said to Sally, "Can I have another steak and one more glass of beer?" Sally glanced at the clock on the wall and shook her head. "I'm afraid we're closing." Elliot looked disappointed. "Guess I'll have to come early tomorrow." Then he pulled out his wallet. "Can I get the check? I have something that I need to do tonight," Sally said to Mia, Bablat and Firas after all the customers had left. "Don't wait for me." Mia nodded. "Come home soon." She then left with Bablat and Firas, who had covered her face and ears with a silk scarf. Streams of water flowed around the restaurant, taking away every speck of dust. Mag stood there, looking kind of sad as he watched Sally use her water-type magic. When the water disappeared, the restaurant returned to the pristine condition again. The green plants flourished on the shelves. "Boss, I'm afraid I have to leave," Sally said calmly as she looked at Mag. "Are you going back home?" Sally nodded. "Yes." Then she looked around the restaurant and smiled. "I had planned to travel around the entire continent, but I ended up staying here. I had a very good time, though, and I made many new friends." Mag looked at her. She rarely smiled, but she looked even better when she did. She was Mag's second customer as well as second waitress. She was his cashier and responsible for all the cleaning work. She was his friend. Mag wished she could stay, but he knew she couldn't, not when her father had found her. And she couldn't run away again. She had no choice but to go back with him. Sally gazed at Mag for a while. "Thank you," she said at last. Mag smiled. "Are you leaving tonight or tomorrow?" "I'm thinking about throwing a party for you." Sally shook her head. "I'm not very good at saying goodbye. Please don't tell them anything until I'm gone. I'll attend the parent-teacher meeting with you tomorrow." She blushed and looked away. Mag nodded. "Thank you. See you tomorrow," Sally said. She then grabbed her clothes and walked out. You never know what life will throw at you. Mag locked the gate and turned off the lights. When he walked to the stairs and saw Amy sitting there with Ugly Duckling, he smiled. "Go home with me, Sally," Elliot said when Sally walked out. "I want to stay here one more day," she said calmly. "I still have some business to take care of." Elliot nodded. "We'll go back tomorrow night then." He took his leave. "Why didn't he yell at me?" Sally thought as she watched her father disappear into the distance. Has he changed? Later that night, a young girl went to the Elven embassy, talked with Blower, and left quickly. You owe me big time, girl, Blower said, standing there in the yard. I'm back, Miss Elizabeth, Yabimia said. You must be hungry. Here. She handed the young Joe fried rice to her. Elizabeth was sitting on the edge of Yabimia's bed. She took the box in her hands. Thank you. Can I have some water? Oh, I forgot to tell you how to use the water dispenser. How thoughtless of me. Sorry. Sure. Wait here, I'll go get some water for you. Where does that water come from? Elizabeth wondered as watched Yabimia use the water dispenser. Is there a spring or something under the house? Yabimia handed her the water, and she downed it in one go. Let me pour another glass for you. Elizabeth drank about half of the second glass, and then opened the box to eat. Yabimia closed the door softly and sat beside Elizabeth. She still looked pale due to loss of blood, but she looked much better than yesterday. Suddenly, Elizabeth stopped eating and turned to look at her. Thank you. Yabimia was caught by surprise. She jumped to her feet and waved her hands nervously. You're welcome. Elizabeth finished her food in no time, without leaving even one rice grain behind. Yabimia cleaned up the mess and poured another glass of water for her. She then pulled some quilts out of her closet and started making a makeshift bed on the floor. Are you going to sleep on the floor? Elizabeth asked. Yabimia nodded. Yes. When she saw that Elizabeth looked a little displeased, she hurriedly asked, Did I sleep talk or snore last night? Did I wake you up? I'll sleep on the couch in the living room. No. You can sleep on the bed. It's big enough for us both to sleep on. Elizabeth found herself holding the glass of water tightly. Yabimia gave her a look like she had just said the most unbelievable thing in the world. I can sleep on the bed. Of course. It's your bed. I can take the floor if that's what you prefer. Elizabeth gulped down the rest of the water, lay down with her back to Yabimia, and pulled the quilt over her. Yabimia hesitated a while. Finally she put the quilts back into the closet. She laid herself down on the very edge of the bed and inched towards Elizabeth until the quilt could just cover her. Do you want me to turn off the light, Miss Elizabeth? She asked quietly. Yes. Her voice was cool, but her lips curved in a smile. She found her shyness adorable. Yabimia turned off the light, plunging the room into darkness. It was so quiet that Yabimia could even hear her rapid heartbeat. She lay there, her body rigid with nervousness. She had always slept alone after her mother died, and now she was sleeping with a powerful, highborn dragon. She felt privileged. She's such a nice person, Yabimia thought. It seemed she had forgotten that the bed was hers. Elizabeth had never shared a bed with others as far as she could remember, not even with her mother, because she was a dragon, and dragons had always been a symbol of power. They were expected to be independent from a very young age. Her mother had never indulged her, even though she knew she had loved her very much. She rarely saw her father, but Mia, her half-sister, had never seen him before. She felt so sorry for her that she wanted to give her a hug. Then she remembered she was a dragon, and dragons were cold creatures. Slowly, they drifted into sleep. When Yabimia woke up the next morning, she felt warmer than before. Sunlight came streaming through the window. She opened her eyes to see a face inches away from hers. Her sleepy eyes flicked open. Her skin is perfect without any kind of imperfections, her nose is so beautiful, and her eyelashes are so attractive. No. All that is not important right now. Why am I in her arms? Oh boy! I'm so gonna die. Her heart started pounding. Her mind went totally blank. But it's so warm and comfortable. A smile came unbidden to her lips. That was when Elizabeth opened her eyes. Yabimia's smile froze. The bliss in her eyes gave way to fear. Elizabeth looked embarrassed. She didn't remember wrapping her arms around Yabimiya, but there they were. They were both well endowed, and they were so close that Elizabeth's breasts were pressing against those of Yabimiya, big, soft, and warm. They had been like this for God knows how long. Elizabeth blushed fiercely. She would have pushed Yabimiya away, but the half-dragon was clearly struck dumb with fear, so she just lay there, at a loss for what to do next. By then Yabimiya had regained her composure. She was surprised when she saw Elizabeth's red face and heard her heart beating like crazy. Could it be she's nervous too? How long do you plan on staying in my arms? Elizabeth asked with a hint of anger in her voice. Ah! Yabimiya jumped out of the bed immediately and fell back 2 steps, her face red like a tomato. I'm so sorry, Miss Elizabeth. I don't know how I ended up sleeping in your arms. Please forgive me. Elizabeth sat up and turned to look in the direction of the window. I'm thirsty. Oh, I'll go get some water for you. Yabimiya put on her slippers and went to the living room hastily. A smile touched the corners of Elizabeth's mouth. She stretched, her pajamas showing off her lovely figure. I can't remember the last time I slept so well. It must have been because of her. Here, Yabimiya said, handing the glass to Elizabeth. She didn't dare to meet her eyes, so she just stole glances at her. Thank you. She took a drink from the glass. I'm leaving, she said, looking up at Yabimiya. So soon? Elizabeth nodded. There is something I need to take care of. But your wounds, they have almost completely healed. Don't underestimate dragons' self-healing ability. You'll know how powerful dragons are when you become one. Elizabeth put down the glass and smiled proudly. I don't know what had happened to you, but you can stay here if you want to. It's safe here. It won't be once they find me. Elizabeth stood up and put her hand on the table. A sapphire ring suddenly appeared. Thank that elf for me and hold onto the ring for me until I get back. The temperature dropped suddenly as a teleportation glyph appeared under her feet, and an instant later, she was gone. If I can get back alive, Miss Elizabeth, Yabimiya felt as empty as the room she was standing in. She looked at the ring on the table and picked it up. It's so beautiful. The ring was silver, engraved with a dragon. The sapphire was transparent and flawless. She agonized for a while over whether to put it on or not. At last she shook her head, found a piece of cloth, wrapped it up carefully, and hid it away in a corner of her closet. Good luck, Miss Elizabeth. Dragons might be strong, but some humans are stronger than dragons. Alex the Dragon Slayer, for instance. He must look fierce. Hopefully I'll never meet him. Sally had planned to talk to Elizabeth, but she didn't see her when she walked past Mia's room. Good morning, Aisha, Yabimiya said, walking out with a smile. Elizabeth has left. She says thank you. Sally nodded, relieved. Mia's smile never failed to put her in a good mood. I need your help, Aisha. An orc wants to celebrate his son's birthday in the ice cream shop. His boy is only 5 years old but very sick. The doctor said he won't live very long. He wants to see snow before he dies, so, I'm sorry, Mia, but I have to go somewhere tomorrow, Sally said apologetically. Oh. Mia looked disappointed, but only for a short while. She smiled at Sally. It's okay. Do your thing, I'll figure something out. Sally nodded and walked towards the bathroom. Such a nice girl. She always puts others first. Mag was sitting at a table, drawing up a recruitment notice. He had been at it for over an hour, but still hadn't written one to his satisfaction. The trash can beside him was filled with paper balls. He sighed. No way am I going to find someone as good as Sally. She is the best. Since no one but Mag knew Sally was leaving, the restaurant was just like it had been. Mag wasn't good at saying goodbye, either, so he hadn't told anyone. It was all he could do not to drug the head of the Brewster family when he saw him sitting there again, even though he was Sally's father. When he saw Sergey leave with a braised chicken and rice, Mag put down the ladle and quickly caught up with him. "Hey, Mag," Sergey said, standing at the door. You see, I need to attend the parent-teacher meeting in the afternoon, but I have no clue what I am supposed to do, 'cause it's my first time. I was wondering if you could give me some pointers." "Sure," Sergey said. "We don't need to do much, actually. The meeting is a chance created by the school to bond with our kids and make good memories with them. You can bring some snacks if you want." "I see. Thank you." He sounded relieved. "Say hi to your wife and kids for me." "All right." "Are you really going to attend the parent-teacher meeting in the afternoon, Father?" Amy asked expectantly as soon as she came back home from school. "Sure. It's your first parent-teacher meeting, of course I'll be there," Mag replied, smiling. "Great." Amy jumped up happily. "But where is Mother? Have you found one for me?" Firas pricked her ears up and listened intently. "Yes. Aisha will come with us. Big sister Aisha." "Thank you, Father." Then she went to rub Ugly Duckling. "I thought he'd ask me to accompany him. Why do I feel so left out?" Firas felt her cheeks flush red. "He said he wanted me to look after Amy when he hired me." Maybe he had said that to everyone else in this restaurant, Firas thought, chopping veggies. "Firas," Mag called out, "you don't need to practice your grilling skills today. I'll teach you how to slice ducks." A shadow of disquiet flickered over her face. She preferred to work in the kitchen where nobody could see her. "It's a time-consuming job, and I don't have time to do that now that we have more customers," Mag continued. "But, don't worry, you'll be fine. I'm sure you can do it," Mag said with an encouraging smile. Firas's face felt hot under Mag's gaze. She hesitated a moment before nodding. I'll try." "Good. Lunch is ready. Let's eat." He walked out of the kitchen, holding a platter of grilled fish. "Wow, so many dishes. And beer. We rarely have lunch this early. What's so special about today?" Yabimiya asked Mag. "That's every dish on the menu save for stinky tofu." Babla's mouth started watering. It was the first time she had seen such a big meal in Mamie restaurant. "That's every dish I like," Amy exclaimed, trying to keep Ugly Duckling from craning to get close to the table. It was too much food for them to eat at once. Sally felt a warm feeling in her heart. "I think it's fate that brought us together," Mag said. "Don't forget the memories we've shared if one day you have to leave. You're always welcome here. Cheers." He raised his glass. "Cheers." They touched their glasses together and drank. Amy raised her ice cream and licked the top. Sally was happy, and her smile brought a big smile to Mag's own lips. Maybe she wouldn't like her life in the Wind Forest, but it was her choice. At least the elves would be better off with her in charge. After the lunch service was over, Mag went to the market with Firas and bought 10 ducks as large as red-top tricolor ducks. He had the vendor dress them. "You need to slice the meat of a duck into 108 pieces. No more, no less," Mag said. He then took a duck out of the oven and showed her how to carve it. "The next duck will be well cooked in 20 minutes. Use the rest of the ducks to practice," Mag said, putting down the knife. "Now, I'm going to go to the parent-teacher meeting." The parent-teacher meeting held by Chaos School was a pretty big event. It was understandable, considering that it was the only school in the city. Chaos City attached great importance to education, so most of the residents living here had studied at that school, and now their children were gaining knowledge there. No employers would give their workers a hard time if they wanted to take today off. There were many carriages and horses outside the main gate, but they had been parked in orderly rows. Everyone was properly dressed. No one wore anything too ostentatious, not even highborn and wealthy people, because they knew Chaos School didn't judge people by their appearance, but by their character. Chaos School followed a principle: only the wise and strong would be met with honor. Therefore, how parents were dressed did not provide any positive influence on their children. This was the school's take. If anyone were to stand out or be a sore sight amongst the crowd, they would only cause their child to be met with odd gazes. This wasn't something good. When Mag arrived on a bicycle in a black suit and black leather shoes, he naturally attracted a lot of eyes. A box was wrapped in a black cloth behind him. As he appeared with Sally at the school's entrance, he was quite surprised that he became especially outstanding, contrary to what he believed would be a fashion event. What's that two-wheeled thing they are riding? What's he carrying on his back? A box? Look at that elf. She's so pretty. And so young. She is a mother already. Some parents couldn't help but stare at Mag and Sally. Being the focus of attention, especially with her taking the role as Amy's mother, Sally asked, her voice low and nervous, "Bo Mag, what do we do?" Mag was very calm, though. "Let's find a spot to park the bike first." He looked around and then wheeled his bike towards a familiar face. "Hey, Mag!" Trajay called out. He wasn't surprised to see Sally here. "Hi, Trajay. Can I park here?" "Sure. Nothing is easier to park than your ride." Trajay stepped aside and let Mag park between two carriages. "What's behind your back?" Trajay asked curiously. Mag smiled. "You'll see." He took the cool box out of the basket. "See you later." Trajay nodded. "What's in the two boxes?" he wondered, scratching his head. Chaos School consisted of two sections, the primary section and the secondary section. The parent-teacher meeting was only for students in the primary section. Those in the secondary section needed to learn to be independent, so they didn't need the parent-teacher meeting. There were about 20,000 students studying in the primary section, so there would be 40,000 parents or so attending the meeting. It was a good thing Chaos School was big enough. They are smiling. Could it be that having kids can make people happier? Sally wondered as she walked with a large crowd in the campus. She had never thought about having her own children. She was still a child herself in everyone's eyes. Now she was participating in the parent-teacher meeting under the guise of being Amy's mother. Although it was just an act, she still felt baffled. Mag's two boxes were so conspicuous. Some people might have made him open them to check the contents, but he looked nothing like a terrorist. "Amy's class is over there," Mag told Sally when he saw Luna standing at her classroom door with a smile. Luna looked surprised when she saw Sally, but her smile returned quickly. "Good afternoon, Mag." "Good afternoon, Teacher Luna," Mag replied with a smile. Amy was sitting in the classroom beside Daphne. When she saw Mag and Sally, she waved her hands happily. "Father." "Ai mother." Some parents turned to look when they heard such an adorable voice. "That girl looks so cute. She's the powerful magic caster I told you about, mother. She's adorable as well as talented. Her parents must be really proud." Their eyes quickly found Mag and Sally. Mag looked around 30. His black suit showed off his lean, muscular physique. He was very handsome with his short mustache, and his kind, sparkling eyes made him look really approachable. Sally looked more like a girl than a woman in her close-fitting kipao. She was tall and slender, pretty but emotionless, giving off a stay-away-from-me aura. They looked a perfect match for each other. They were not wearing any blingy accessories, but still, many people couldn't tear their eyes away from them. "Now I know why that little girl is so adorable," a man muttered. Many other parents nodded in agreement. She had obviously gotten her good genes from her parents. Mag could feel their eyes on him, and that made him feel a little nervous. Amy would study with the children here starting next year, so he had to watch his behavior in order not to evoke dislike. Is it okay if we walk in? He asked Luna in a low voice. Yes. Sit beside Amy. We still have to wait for other parents to come, though. She saw the box on Mag's back, but said nothing. Mag nodded and smiled in greeting as he walked past other parents. He knew how to behave in a courteous manner because he did that every day. They looked surprised for a moment, and then smiled back. Amy was the disciple of 2 10th-tier magic casters, and she had defended the honor of Chaos School against the challengers from the Roth Empire all by herself. These parents would try to get on Mag's good side for their children's sake, if not for their own. Hello, father and mother of Amy, Daphne said. She recognized Sally, for she had eaten in Mamie restaurant before, but by the look of it, Amy must have told her about her new mother. Hello, parents of Amy, greeted Ignacio, who was sitting behind Amy with a blade of grass on his head. Mag smiled at them. Hi. Then he greeted Daphne's and Ignacio's parents. Mag had never seen them before, but since Amy and their children were friends, he quickly became acquainted with them. Drew, Daphne's father, was a mercenary, like her grandfather, Guy. He was a good-natured second-tier knight. Ignacio's father's name was Shiza. He was a demon and a magic caster. He worked for the city lord's castle, researching botanical magic. Mag could tell from his disheveled hair and clothes that he had just gotten out of his lab. Nice to meet you, Mag, said Shiza. I'd really like to show you a new battle magic spell I have just created, but this place is a little too crowded. Apparently he was a mad scientist of some sort. Shiza's wife, Bonnie, shot him a glare that shut him up immediately. Thank you, Mag and Sally, for inviting Ignacio to your party, she said with a smile. Ignacio and Daphne are Amy's friends, I like to have them over. The 3 pairs of parents chatted away save for Sally, who seemed a little ill at ease. Never thought I'd sit in a classroom talking about kids with other parents, Mag thought to himself. Before he knew it, his nervousness had faded away. However, the same thing couldn't be said for Sally. Is it painful for elves to give birth, Aisha? Bonnie asked out of curiosity. I was in so much pain that I thought I was gonna die. How would she know? She had never given birth before. Sally suddenly found herself wishing to be anywhere but here. Mag would have helped her out, but he had no business butting in a girl talk. Besides, he knew nothing about pregnancy or childbirth. That was when Luna stepped up to the podium and told everybody to settle down. She saved Sally unwittingly. The classroom fell silent. The parents sat straight as if they had become students again. Thank you all for coming here today. I'm Luna, homeroom teacher of this class. Mag found parent-teacher meetings here were more or less the same as those in his past life. Luna told the parents every student's performance and progress. She praised most and mildly reproached some for their mischievous behavior. Then she started handing out prizes to students who had achieved high scores on the test or made great progress. The certificates and small but elaborate prizes put a big smile on the faces of kids and their parents alike. Nothing made a parent prouder than to hear his or her child get praised by their teacher. Amy had nothing to do with any of this, so she just applauded. I wish I could get a certificate too. Amy rested her chin on Mag's hands which he had placed on the table and looked enviously at the kids holding their prizes. You will when you start studying under Teacher Luna, Mag said with a smile, stroking her head. Daphne had gotten 3 certificates and 3 notebooks. Her grades were in the top 3 of the class. Happiness was written all over her parents' faces. Palmer had gotten 2 certificates. Trajay was all smiles as he held them. Ignacio looked worried as he had gotten nothing. Shiza looked like he couldn't care less, but Bonnie's face darkened. Ignacio raised his eyes slowly, and then hurriedly lowered his head again when he saw his mother was glowering at him. Amy got nothing, either, he said in a barely audible voice. The last award is the Outstanding Contribution Award, Luna said, holding a certificate much larger than the ones she had handed out. We only have one winner this year, and she is in our class. The Outstanding Contribution Award. It's a yearly award that students and faculty alike can win. Why is it given to a student in the primary section? Everyone in the room looked incredulous. The Outstanding Contribution Award was only given to people who had done something that had brought great honor to Chaos School. Such contributions mainly came from feats of honor by students or teachers who had made important discoveries. Normally, it was won by students in the secondary section and teachers since students from the primary section were still young. Clearly, they couldn't make many outstanding contributions. However, when Luna said she was going to give this award to one of the students in her class, many people couldn't believe their ears. How is it possible? Many people shared the same thought. Amy's eyes lit up when she saw the certificate Luna was holding. It's so big. I like it. The Outstanding Contribution Award. I like the sound of it, Mag thought. He didn't understand the significance of it, though. Luna was not surprised by so many incredulous faces, because she had had the same look on her face when she first got the news. The Outstanding Contribution Award goes to Amy, she announced. They turned to look at Amy, surprised and not surprised. If anyone could win this award, it was Amy. Of course, there were those who didn't know that match or the importance of it. They looked at the half-elf girl, who was even younger than their own children, wondering what she had done to deserve such a high honor. The last certificate is mine? Amy asked, looking up at Mag, confused. Mag nodded. Yes, it's yours. He was filled with pride. Amy defeated the challengers from the Roth Empire about a month ago, Luna continued. After 4 consecutive losses, we finally had a win to be proud of. In honor of Amy's great contribution, Chaos School decided to give her this award. She smiled at Amy. Come forward, Amy. Go on, Mag said, and patted her on the shoulder. Amy jumped off her chair and headed towards Luna. She stood on tiptoes to take the certificate in her hands, but it was so big that it completely hit her head when she held it before her. She then stuck her head from behind it and gave a big smile. They applauded loudly, especially the kids who had seen the match and considered her worthy of the award. Way to go, Amy! Daphne shouted. Ignazio was also clapping his hands in delight. Amy got the biggest one, Bonnie said, staring at her son. If you fail to get a certificate next year, I'll beat you and your father. Wait, what? I have nothing to do with his bad grades, protested Shiza, who was playing with a couple of beans. You have everything to do with his bad grades. Since you care about your stupid beans more than us, why don't you marry them? I'm sure you'll live a happier life ever after. Shiza was beaten. Study harder, son, he said to Ignazio solemnly, or our butts will be beaten to a pulp. I don't know about you, father, but I've gotten used to mother's beating. Thank you, Teacher Luna, Amy said, and ran to Mag and Sally. Father, mother, look. Mag touched her head. That's my girl. Sally froze, but she soon got infected by Amy's happiness. She was an obedient and adorable child. Although she wasn't her real mother, she found it a moment of realization. As she looked at Mag smiling warmly and the happy Amy, she liked the idea of having Mag as her husband and Amy her daughter. Being such a family of 3 was nice. After Mag received the most prestigious award in Chaos School, the mood in the classroom turned odd. Compared to the Outstanding Contribution Award, the other awards paled in comparison. Although the parents tried their best to appear natural, the mood turned tense when they saw the certificate in Amy's arms. That was when they heard a commotion coming from other classrooms. The other homeroom teachers were announcing the news of Amy winning the Outstanding Contribution Award. Looks like many people are questioning our decision to give Amy that award, the Balding school administrator told Novan. Novan laughed. Crasso would never build a magic room here if not for her, and he'd never teach the other kids magic. But many people don't know this. Yeah, and we won't explain ourselves to them. Let them question our decision. We can give this award to whomever who want. Even the city lord's castle and the Grey Temple can't interfere. Then Novan's voice grew cold. Tell those old farts to stop wasting money on stupid projects that benefit nobody and start doing something for the school. Yes, Principal Novan, he said hurriedly, and took his leave. Novan sighed as he looked out his window. That award was meant for Krasu, but he didn't want it. Mag felt their eyes on him, chilly, angry, and jealous eyes, but it was not his fault that his child was better than theirs. He felt good, even better than when he got the admission letter from the university he had applied to. Luna could sense the tension in the air. Congratulations to the students who have been rewarded for their efforts, she said, and I hope everyone will study harder next semester. Next up is playtime. Some parents are working too hard to have enough time to bond with their children, and now is as good a time as any to make it up to your kids. Some parents and their children are going to perform some shows for us. Enjoy! They moved some tables and chairs to make room for the performers. Their amateur performance brought bursts of laughter. The tension was eased. Other parents might be envious of Mag's daughter, but they loved their children no matter what, so everyone loved this bonding time. The parents quickly immersed themselves in the fun and games. Are we going to perform Spring is Here? Amy asked, looking up at Mag expectantly. Sally turned to look at Mag with a hint of a smile in her eyes. She didn't mind dancing with Mag and Amy. I don't feel like dancing today. His good sense prevailed over impulse. Besides, I need women's clothes to do the dance. Whatever you need, I can supply, the system said suddenly. And I'll give you one item of female clothing for free. Mag rolled his eyes. Thank you, but no, thanks. Dance in front of everyone in women's clothes? I'd rather die first. The system was really good at countering everything he said. Okay. Amy looked disappointed. She turned to face Sally. Will you dance with me, Mother? Sally wanted to say no, but instead she nodded. Thank you, Mother. Amy said, throwing herself into Sally's arms. Sally smiled as she stroked her head. She was happy to be Amy's mother, albeit for only one day. Her fun and carefree days would be over once she got back to the Wind Forest, and Amy would never call her mother again. With this in mind, Sally's eyes softened, so she decided to make the most of every minute she had with her. When Mag saw Sally looking down at Amy with warm and affectionate eyes, for a moment he felt like she was her real mother. Such a nice girl, Mag thought, and then he remembered Irina. All of a sudden his head was clear again. The children's performances were so cute and captivating that even Mag found them interesting. He used to sleep through concerts, but now he was grinning like a fool while watching children perform. Maybe it's because I've gotten old. Mag then bought an portable audio player from the system. He needed it to play Gakuraku Jodo. Is there anyone else who'd like to perform? Luna asked when a show was over. Amy raised her hand. We'd like to perform Spring is Here, Teacher Luna, Mother and I. Luna smiled. Great. Let's give Amy and Sally a round of applause. Sally stood up calmly and walked to the middle of the room with Amy as they clapped. Everyone knew elves were excellent singers and dancers, so the room was filled with anticipation. This is an audio player, not a monster, so don't be alarmed, kids, Mag said as he put the portable player on the table and pushed the play button. Cheerful drum beats filled the room, and Amy and Sally started to dance, their bodies flexible and their moves graceful. It was such an eye-pleasing performance. Amy dances like a butterfly. Daphne exclaimed as she pressed her hands to her chest, wide-eyed. It's so beautiful. Their show was on another level compared with those of other parents and children. The audience didn't understand why that little thingy was able to produce such beautiful music. Sally and Amy bowed and returned to their seats when they were done. They broke into rapturous applause. Everyone was captivated by their dance. When there was no one else who wanted to perform, Luna told them to take a break. Some parents started handing out gifts and snacks. The kids who received the snacks and gifts brimmed with joy. This was probably the part which they liked best. "Did you bring something for my classmates, Father?" Amy asked with anticipation. Mag gave a hesitant smile when he saw the bags of snacks in Amy's arms. I didn't bring anything like that, but I can cook." "Cook?" Silence filled the room as Mag took the foldable grill and a bag of beef kebabs out of the cool box. All of their expressions turned odd at the sight when Mag set up the rack. Never once had they seen a parent bring a grill to a parent-teacher meeting. Was he preparing to grill some meat for the children on the spot? The teachers held back their laughter. What was this going to turn into? A parent-teacher meeting turning into a barbecue? Mr. Mag, is that a grill?" Luna asked hesitatingly. Although there wasn't a problem with that, she found it odd. Mag also realized that grilling beef kebabs was quite inappropriate, but having brought it here, it would be odd to bring it back. All he could do was bite the bullet. "Yes, Teacher Luna. I prepared some beef kebabs for the children. Can I do the grilling outside? Beef kebabs are best when eaten straight from the grill." He's really going to grill beef kebabs on the spot for the children. The crowd burst into laughter. That was not a request that teachers often got during a parent-teacher meeting. "Did he misunderstand what I said in the morning?" Trajay muttered with a strange look on his face. "What did you say to him, honey?" Miranda asked in a whisper. "Nothing. I just said parents typically bring some snacks and gifts for the kids. Maybe his definition of snacks is a little different. Beef kebabs, I guess." Trajay shrugged. "Anyway, it looks like we're going to have a feast today." He smiled. Luna had never found herself in this kind of predicament before. It was unprecedented. The school rules said nothing about prohibiting parents from grilling on campus, but then again, who in their right mind would want to grill on campus? This left Luna somewhat at a loss. "My father's beef kebabs are the best of the best," Amy said proudly to other kids. "I'm sure you've never eaten anything half as good." "I want to eat beef kebabs, Mom." "Can I have some kebabs, Pop?" The kids could barely hold their horses as they pictured kebabs sizzling on the grill. "I think it's a good idea, Teacher Luna," said a balding teacher who taught common language. "The rules don't say we can't do that, so why not?" The general knowledge teacher nodded. "Our primary section won the Outstanding Contribution Award. It's unprecedented." Luna looked at the excited kids, and then at Mag who was smiling. She hesitated a moment before nodding. "Okay. Then let's get outside." "Thanks, Teacher Luna." Then he picked up the grill and the cool box. "Give me a hand, Amy," he called. "Coming." Amy frolicked over with a big smile. She got to eat her father's cooking here, in Chaos School. It was a pleasure in life. The classroom was located on the ground floor, so there was an empty spot in front of it. Mag set up the rack and placed all the condiments and sauces on the grill rack. Many children and parents stuck their heads out of the windows and craned their necks to get a better look. "All right, Amy, light them up," Mag said, pointing at the charcoal pieces placed in the grill. "Yes, Father." A purple flame appeared in her palm and quickly turned into a fireball. She tossed it at the charcoal. Whoosh! Every piece went up in flames, giving off strong and even heat. Sally stood there watching with a smile. There was nothing she could do to help right now, but she could hand the kebabs out to the kids when they were done. "Wow, fire magic!" The children regarded Amy with awe and admiration. They couldn't even imagine being able to use magic, but Amy made it look like it was nothing. "Thanks," Mag said to Amy. She had saved him time. Normally he would need at least several minutes to get the charcoal to the right temperature. It's unhygienic to cook in the open air, said a skinny man in expensive-looking clothes. His hair was stylish and glossy, apparently he had used a lot of wax. And the beef can't be fresh, it has been kept in that box for many hours already. I'll never eat something like that. Yes. We have to be careful what we put into our mouths, said the woman sitting next to him. She was wearing a green dress, holding an extremely fat boy in her affectionate arms. Our kid never eats street food, and we always bring our own tableware when eating out. Joseph nodded. I won't eat his kebabs, mother. Then he lowered his voice. Can I have 3 fried chickens when we get back? Many people overheard Joseph's parents' conversation and grew hesitant about whether to let their children eat the meat or not. Unhygienic? There's no restaurant more hygienic than Mag's in the whole city, George muttered in a low voice. He watched with anticipation as Mag put the kebabs on the grill. I need to study harder, or I'll never catch up to her, Palmer thought, sitting at the window gazing at Amy. Luna stood there, looking in the direction of where the principal's office was. Hopefully they won't come down hard on me. The kebabs were sizzling on the grill, grease slowly seeping out. The smell of roast beef permeated the air, and it was growing stronger by the second. Smells so good. So good. 935 Someone else always has it better. This fact has never disappointed me. The wonderful aroma of grilled beef found its way to almost every corner of the building in front of which Mag was cooking. Some students sniffed and looked around, trying to find where it came from. Your batch are the worst students I've ever had, a bald homeroom teacher said in his classroom on the 6th floor. A child, much younger than you, won the Outstanding Contribution Award, and now look at you, spinning books, spinning pens, cording. None of the books were written so you can spin them. He was one of the oldest teachers who had taught here almost all his life and was on the verge of retiring. As one of the oldest teachers at Chaos School, no student dared to defy him, no student dared to defy him. Even the parents were listening in silence with their heads bowed because most of them had once been his students. Attending the parent-teacher meeting was like a walk down memory lane for the parents in this classroom. However, the silent classroom began to have some stirrings. The fragrance scratched at that itch in their hearts. The students and parents couldn't help but look out of the classroom. The fragrance came from outside, possibly roasted beef. However, this was Chaos School. It wasn't mealtime either, so who would be roasting beef in school? Especially during the parent-teacher meeting? Who's doing the grilling? It smells great. Yet. It's making me hungry. The students and parents discussed amidst murmurs, hearts filled with curiosity. They had even forgotten about the stern teacher, Hamilton, who was standing at the podium. Oh! Hamilton's gaze turned stern. People were whispering while he was speaking. This was forbidden even for parents. He also caught a whiff of the grilled beef. His eyes lit up as his brows furrowed. He walked towards the door, mumbling, "Someone is out of his mind grilling beef on campus. And to actually make it smell so good." This happened across the different classrooms in the primary section. Even classes with stern teachers had walked to the corridor, much less the less stricter teachers. Students and parents crowded the corridor in an attempt to find that savoring fragrance. Never thought grilled beef would smell so good. Is it really grilled beef? I've eaten grilled beef many times, but this smells different. Amy's father is so cool. It's like he's doing magic. I want some beef kebabs, Mom. Now the parents in Amy's class could naturally take in the richest fragrances emitted by Mag's rack. There were no greasy or cloyed smells, just pure fragrance. It inundated them without any rhyme or reason. The children and parents were already enamored by the beef kebabs that Mag was flipping with deft hands. The glistening appearance made their mouths water. The parents' worries were gone. Now, the only thought on their mind was whether they had a chance to lay their fingers on a skewer of beef kebabs, or if they were only for the children. There were quite a number of them on the rack, so they were wondering if any of them would end up theirs. At the same time, the parents looked at Mag in a different light. They never expected such a feat from someone they looked down upon. The sight and smell of beef made Joseph's belly rumble. He raised his head to look at his mother, who had just stolen a furtive glance at the beef kebabs, and asked, "Can I take back what I just said, Mother?" She glanced at his father, Bevis. "As good as they may smell, they're not safe to eat," Bevis said gravely. "Restrain yourself, Joseph, you're highborn, don't embarrass me." He paused for a moment, and then added, "I'll buy 3 fried chickens for you if you don't eat the beef kebabs." Joseph's eyes went wide. "For real?" He nodded. "Okay, I'm going to eat 3 chickens." "There," a man called out. The other people in the building followed his eyes and saw the grill and a man brushing sauce on the sizzling kebabs. Holy SHT! That man is grilling beef during the parent-teacher meeting. He must be out of his mind. I don't know if he's out of his mind, but I know I'm out of my mind. What torture! I can see the food, I can smell it, but I can get none. This is absolute torture." They looked wistfully at the food. There was nothing they could do to stop their mouths from watering. "Is that Amy? The girl who won the Outstanding Contribution Award?" "Yeah." "And the man grilling meat is her father?" "Who is the elf girl standing beside her?" "Her mother. Her mother is a gorgeous elf, her father is a talented cook. God, how I envy her." Mag put the well-cooked kebabs on the part of the grill where the heat was low. "These are for children and teachers," he called out. "Could someone please help me hand them out?" "We'll do it." Trajay and his wife walked over, followed by several other parents. "Joseph is good," Bevis said when Trajay handed one to his son. I don't want it." It was all the fat boy could do to tear his eyes away from the kebab. "Fried chickens, fried chickens, fried chickens." He reminded himself over and over again. Trajay shrugged, and then gave it to another kid. "They're still hot," Mag called. "Make sure you blow on them before eating." He walked over to the teachers with several kebabs. "Here, see if you like the taste." "Thank you. I know from the smell I'll like it," the common language teacher said, taking one in his hand and biting off a piece. Immediately he opened his mouth as it was still too hot. He almost spat it out. The burning sensation wore off quickly, and then he tasted the burnt flavor in the sauce. He normally detested garlic for its sharp and overwhelming flavor, but the flavor of this garlic sauce was very mellow and delicious. As his teeth went into the meat, more flavors came out with the juices. He felt as if his taste buds were rejoicing, and he was simply unable to stop eating. "This is incredible," he exclaimed in wonder after he swallowed. "I've never had anything so good before." Judging from the cries of amazement, the kids also liked the food very much. "Someone else always has it better. This fact has never disappointed me," a girl sighed as leaned on the rail, looking down at the kids gobbling beef kebabs. 936 It's delish. The blissful looks on the children's faces spoke volumes about the taste of the kebabs. Something delicious didn't need much description. One just needed to look at the expressions of the children. The parents sat beside their children as they wore smiles on their faces. They looked at Mag, impressed. Back when the children received their awards, none of them looked as happy or blissful as they did now. Mag's culinary skills was just amazing. She is lucky to have a husband so handsome and talented. I envy the hell out of her. The mothers looked at their husbands, who were of an age with Mag but looked 10 years older and much fatter, and sighed. Their men didn't do anything when at home, let alone cook for them. The mothers looked at Mag as a model husband, while the fathers regarded him with hatred. Of course Mag was ignorant of all that, absorbed as he was in grilling kebabs. Joseph had tried again and again to keep his mouth from watering, but failed every time. He looked up at Bevis with imploring eyes. "There is none left," Bevis said, expressionless. Anger glinted in his eyes. What the hell did he put in the meat? They have been duped. They just don't know it yet. You really should try it, Joseph, said the kid sitting beside him. It's so good. He slid another piece off the skewer and chewed merrily, grease running down the corner of his mouth. Joseph sighed. There had once been a beef kebab right in front of him, but he hadn't taken it. Only when he lost it did he feel regretful. If the heavens could give him one more chance, he would say, I want it. I think the meat is fine, said Joseph's mother. They are all eating it. They look at us like we're trying to be different or something. She could barely resist the mouth-watering smell in the air, but her husband was being too stubborn. All right, suit yourself, but I'll never partake, Bevis said after looking around and thinking for a moment. Joseph jumped off his chair and rushed over to George, who was about to head out of the classroom with 2 kebabs. Wait up, sir, please give me one. His love handles were jiggling delightfully as he ran. George turned around and smiled, handing a beef kebab to him. Thank you, sir. After he ran back to his seat, he glanced at his father and reached his hand up reluctantly. Here, father, it's tasty. No, I'm good, Bevis replied in a chilly voice, looking away. Go ahead and eat it, sweetheart, his mother said with a smile, touching his head. She glanced at Bevis, helpless. Her husband was nothing if not headstrong and proud. Joseph bit off a piece of beef and chewed, giving a blissful smile. Wow, this is fantastic, Joseph said after he swallowed. I don't think anything can compare with this, not even fried chicken. This is out of this world. This roast beef must be incredible if Joseph is loving it so much, his mother thought. Fried chicken used to be his favorite. That man is professional, by the look of it, and his grill and ingredients look clean enough to me. Maybe I was wrong about him. Joseph took a glance at Bevis again before handing the kebab to his mother. It's really good, mother, he said in a hushed voice. Try it. The woman hesitated a moment, and then slid off a piece of beef. The mouth-watering sauce on the surface of the beef and the juices of the meat flowing in her mouth instantly awakened her taste buds. She only had to chew lightly to provoke an explosion of meaty juices within her mouth, which combined with the sauce and condiments to create an incredible flavor. She felt as if a fireball had exploded in her mouth, transforming into countless smaller fireballs that were stimulating her palate. Her eyes went wide. She was too stunned to speak. She was born into a wealthy family in Rodu, so naturally she was no stranger to gourmet food. Nonetheless, she found herself captivated by such flavorsome beef. Bevis cast a furtive glance at his wife, his throat bobbing up and down. It's just a beef kebab, how good can it be? Its smell is extraordinary, though. I don't think I've ever smelled such a wonderful aroma in the Dukas restaurant. He forced himself to look away from the kebab in his son's hand. Having said those words, he absolutely couldn't eat it no matter how tantalizing it was. These are for the parents, Mag told George when the second batch was ready. It was definitely good news, not only for the adults, but also for the kids because their parents could barely keep in check their urge to eat their kebab. Do you want some? George asked when he walked over to Joseph's family. Joseph's mother took one and smiled. My husband thanks, Bevis said, reaching for a kebab. Looks like he has changed his mind, George thought to himself, and walked on. Joseph and his mother looked at Bevis, confused. You are right, Bevis said to his wife. I don't want people to think I'm trying to be different or I'm difficult to get along with. We're very approachable. I don't want to see my boy get shunned by his classmates because of me, so even though this meat may not be safe to eat, I'm gonna take a bite. With that said, he picked up a beef kebab and bit at it. Mmm. It's delish, he blurted out next. What's with all the hustle and bustle, demanded Dean, the director of guidance. The commotion at the primary section had earned the attention of the administrative block. It was not uncommon for children to get excited during parent-teacher meetings, but this noise was different. It almost sounded like someone was throwing a party. A parent is grilling beef kebabs in front of teacher Luna's class, answered a teacher. Dean raised an eyebrow. What? Is he out of his goddamn mind? What if he set the campus on fire? Well, the campus is not on fire, but the roast beef smells so good that many children, parents, and even teachers have gone over to check it out. Dean's face darkened. That's not an example teachers should set for kids. Teacher Luna. The principal may think highly of her, but that doesn't mean she gets to do whatever she wants. Allowing a parent to cook in the open air? What is she thinking? The principal has also gone there. But Dean had already walked out of the room. Dean arrived at the scene and was about to yell at Mag, but then he spied the principal, who was standing in front of the grill holding a beef kebab. Kids, we need to thank Mag for offering us this amazing food, Novan said, smiling. This beef kebab may look ordinary and nothing fancy, but the skills behind it are, I can assure you, the best in the whole city. Even the king of the Roth Empire didn't get to try this at his birthday banquet, so we're very lucky. By the way, Mag won the Best Cook Award at the King's Banquet, and he owns a restaurant in the Aden Square. It's called Mamie Restaurant. I'm sure some of you have dined there or at least heard of it. The parents gazed at Mag in awe, and they suddenly considered the beef kebabs in their hands as something of great value. Bevis looked shocked. He cooked for the king. He lowered his head in embarrassment and bit off another piece of beef. As expected of someone who won the Best Cook Award. This beef is heavenly. It seems father likes it too, Joseph thought, disappointed. Adults are so mercurial and fond of lying. They say they don't want something when they actually do. I heard about his restaurant, said Joseph's mother. It's famous but really expensive, even more expensive than Duca's restaurant. It's full every day, though. The lines waiting outside his restaurant are insanely long. I often eat at his place, one man said. I can't force anything not made by Mag down my throat after I dine there. So I eat there every day. His food is both a blessing and a curse, said another man. You're too kind, Principal Novan, Mag said. It's my honor to cook for the children and the teachers. I didn't mean to disrupt the meeting, but it seems I have, so I must apologize. I'm so sorry. Dean, Novan called out. Mag said he disrupted the meeting. You're the director of guidance, so I'll leave it to you to deal with this, but first, try one of these. It's amazing. Dean walked up to them with a smile. It must be good if even you're saying it's amazing, Principal Novan. Okay, let me try it. He was smiling, but the children knew there was more to that smile than met the eye. They nicknamed him the Smiling Tiger behind his back because he was an outwardly kind but inwardly cruel person. They feared him even more than Principal Novan. Luna looked anxious. The teachers called him the Smiling Tiger too. Even they spoke to him timidly and cautiously, and Luna didn't think he had come for the food only. Here, Director Dean, Mag said, handing the last beef kebab to him with a smile. He was ready for whatever punishment Dean wanted to inflict on him. Everyone in Amy's class had tried at least one kebab, so he could take away his grill for all he cared. Dean had thought it was just a normal beef kebab, but he soon found out he couldn't have been more wrong. It was nothing like the kebabs he had eaten before, and he finished it in no time. He gave Mag a thumbs up. Principal Novan was right, this is amazing. Now I know why everyone has been drawn here. The taste is really irresistible. Everyone laughed. They were relieved that the Smiling Tiger could be open-minded too. But, the parent-teacher meeting is an important and serious event, and Mag disrupted it, Dean continued. His smile had died. However, it's not his fault, or Teacher Luna's. It's my fault. I forgot to add no cooking on campus during the parent-teacher meeting to the school rules. The parent-teacher meeting ended on a friendly note. Sally put out the fire and cleaned everything up. Mag put the grill in that large box again, took Amy by the hand, and walked towards the school gate. Bye, Amy's father. Bye, Amy. Have your father cook for us again, Amy. The kids said goodbye to Mag and Amy, and clearly they had been captivated by Mag's cooking. The parent-teacher meeting is so much fun. I like it. Amy said, holding Mag's hand with her left hand and Sally's with her right. Mag and Sally exchanged a joyful glance. Thank you, Sally, Mag said. You're welcome. She looked down at Amy and smiled. It's been an interesting and happy experience for me too. I wish we could stay together forever, big sister Aisha. Sally's heart ached for a moment. This life was tempting, but she had no answer. She only smiled and touched her hair ever so lightly. Amy didn't catch the sadness in her eyes. You have a beautiful smile, big sister Sally, you should smile more often. Sally nodded. I will. She had indeed smiled more today than she had in a long time. Mag wheeled his bike out easily through a sea of carriages, making the coachman feel envious. Mag sat Amy on the horizontal top tube, and Sally seated herself on the back seat. Hold tight, and off we go. The bicycle shot off like an arrow. Sally wrapped her arms around Mag's waist automatically without thinking. Despite his years, Mag blushed like a boy. Sally was young and beautiful. She reminded him of the girls he had dated during his school days. Oh, the good old days. Sally's fair cheeks reddened when she realized what she had done. She could feel his muscular body under his white shirt. She wanted to pull her hands back, but she found herself gently pressing her cheek against his broad back instead. I met you too late. I wish I could spend more time with you, but I have to leave. I may never see you again, so let me hold you while I can. Sally closed her eyes and smiled. When Mag returned to the restaurant, Sally got off the bicycle, as calm as if nothing had happened. Mag lifted Amy off and wheeled the bicycle inside. It was time to prepare the ingredients for the dinner service. How did the meeting go? Yabimiya asked curiously as soon as they walked inside. Did you really pose as Amy's mother, Aisha? Did someone recognize you? Babla and Firas walked over to them too. No. Big sister Aisha is really good at acting. She didn't blow her cover, Amy said as she scooped up Ugly Duckling, who had run to her. I didn't do anything, really, Sally said. Oh, I got the biggest certificate in my class. Come check it out. Amy took it out of the basket, and they congratulated and praised her. Mag went upstairs to change into his chef's uniform. When he got back down and saw such a lovely scene, his lips curved in a smile. He went into the kitchen and saw many plates of duck meat, which had been arranged in a long row. He could tell how much progress Firas had made just by looking at them. The pieces on the first plate were not uniform in thickness, and the skin on some pieces was damaged. Yet, the pieces on the last plate were almost exactly the same in thickness and size, and the skin on each piece was in beautiful shape. 108 pieces, and there is no meat left on the bones. Perfect. Mag said to Firas. I envy the hell out of her. Mag sighed silently. I had to carve up over 5,000 ducks before I mastered the skills at the test field for the god of cookery. But it only took her several hours and 10 ducks of practice to do the same. You can get really discouraged when you compare yourself to someone better than you. Firas looked surprised. So I don't need to practice anymore. Mag nodded. No, you don't. From now on, you'll slice the ducks for the customers. I'm sure you can do it. Yes, boss, I'll do my best. Due to Principal Novan's promotion and Amy's winning of the Outstanding Contribution Award, Mamie Restaurant had garnered more fame, which led to a surge in the number of customers tonight. Many parents of the kids not in Amy's class came with their families to try the dish that had been praised by both the principal and the director of guidance. Of course, when they really came to the restaurant, families who weren't wealthy showed a hesitant look when they saw the prices. Others gave excuses of not finding anything to their liking to live. Some bought a skewer of beef kebabs for their child for takeaway. As for those who could afford the price, they took their seats and awaited the food to be served. Joseph and his parents seated themselves at a table in the corner. "Look at the price of beef kebabs," Joseph's mother said when she opened the menu. "Only 200 copper coins each. Mag is such a nice person." Mag could spend more time on cooking now that Firas had taken over the duck slicing job. A roasted duck could satiate 200 customers. As such, they could serve 500 customers during dinner time, and that was not including the ones that stood by the roadside eating food like beef kebabs and rigiamo. Mag had handled his workload with no problem, but Yabimia and Sally looked like they could use some rest. "Crap, I totally forgot to make the 'we are hiring' flyer." Mag looked very worried. "With Sally gone, we can't hope to run such a large business." Mag looked at Sally, who was clearing tables, and realized he was still refusing to face the reality that she was leaving. He sighed. "I'll put up a recruitment poster tomorrow. I'll cut the number of customers we can handle for now and raise it when I find someone suitable." Mag didn't like the idea of having too many waitresses running about in the restaurant. He didn't like the bustle and cramped feeling. This was roughly testament of his unconventional ways. When every customer had left and everything was spotlessly clean, Yabimia and Babla joined arms and walked over to where Sally was standing. "Let's go back, Aisha, it's so cold." Sally shook her head. "I have some business I need to tend to. You go on ahead." She then put her arms around them and gave them a big hug. "I'm so fortunate, having you as my friends." They didn't know why she had suddenly gotten so emotional. "No, we're the fortunate ones." Yabimia smiled. "Come home soon. Don't stay out too late." Babla gave Sally a long look before waving her hand, saying, "Bye." Sally watched as they walked into the cold, dark night. "Why didn't you tell them you're leaving?" Mag asked. "I don't want to make them sad." Then she turned to face Mag with a smile. "Thank you, Mag, for letting me stay here and work for you." "I should thank you, Miss Sally. The restaurant couldn't have gotten where it is today without you." Sally was taken by surprise. How? How did you find out?" "By accident." Sally smiled. "I guess I should thank you again." "No, I should thank you for not killing me." Then Mag handed her a leather bag and a well-made music box. The bag was bound by a golden thread. The music box was covered by a glass dome, in which stood a half-elf girl in a purple dress. Sally took the music box in her hand. The half-elf girl closely resembled Amy. "A parting gift. You know how to use it, don't you? She can do all the dances you learned here and some new dances. If she stops moving, just place the music box under the sun for half a day or so." Sally looked on the verge of tears. "Thank you," she said after staring at it for a while. "Come back whenever you want to. You can always eat here free of charge." Mag gave her a warm smile, the same smile he had given her when she pushed the restaurant door open for the very first time. Sally nodded. "Thank you." She put the music box and the money in her bag. She looked around the place where she had spent most of her days after she ran away from home. She had witnessed it grow from a small business to such a large one. It was a place she loved even more than her home. Sally turned to face Mag. "Say goodbye to Amy for me." She smiled. "I will come back someday." Mag smiled back. "You know where to find us." "Bye, Mag." "Bye, Sally." Mag stood at the door and watched her fade into the night. "It's so damn cold." Mag wrapped his clothes tighter around himself. He walked inside and closed the door behind him. He then poured himself a glass of wine and downed it in one go. "Big sister Aisha is not coming back, is she, father?" Amy asked when she saw Mag coming up. She was sitting at the top of the stairs, holding Ugly Duckling in her arms. Mag walked up to her and stroked her head. "She will come back," he said softly, "but not tomorrow." Amy raised her eyes. "What about the day after tomorrow?" Mag shook his head. "But she loves you, so she'll definitely come back to see you someday." Amy's face lit up but fell again. "I didn't tell her I love her too." "She knows. She is a grown-up, so she can tell that you love her." "Really? I will tell her I love her when I see her again." "Have you said your goodbyes to your friends?" Elliot asked Sally at the top of a mountain outside the city. "You know I'm not good at saying goodbye," Sally said calmly. Elliot paused a moment. "Do you hate me, Sally?" Sally didn't answer. She stared off into the distance, her face reflective. "Are we bandits, father?" Elliot frowned. "Of course not. We're elves, protected by the god of life." Sally looked him in the eye. "But what's the difference between what we're doing now and what the bandits do?" Elliot opened his mouth but made no reply. "I hate it, so I'm going to destroy it." With that, she turned around and left. "What the hell is this?" Irina said. "Hang in there, old friend." The leaves of the tree of life had withered, and almost the whole trunk had turned black. Black smoke was coming out of the trunk, and it smelled like death. Irina was sitting cross-legged under the tree, pale from excessive use of magic. A twig reached down and patted weakly on her back as if telling her to leave. "No." Irina shook her head adamantly. "If I leave you behind and let you die, elves will be abandoned by the god of life. I can't let that happen. I won't let that happen. Before Mother comes out of seclusion, it's up to me to protect you and the wind forest." The tree creaked and groaned as if weeping. Bork stood outside Irina's cave. The black lines on his face looked even more hideous in the moonlight. There was a black mass of mist around him, constantly changing shapes, as if alive. "Soon. Soon. Tonight, I'll make the Norland continent bow down before my might." "No!" Helena screamed in the starry cave as she looked up at the stars which were dimming quickly as if they were hidden by clouds. She looked grave as a big crystal ball appeared in her hand. It was shining a bright purple golden. "We're doomed. This is even worse than the last war among species." She went white, staring in the direction where the tree of life was, her trembling voice echoing in the cave. Black clouds appeared out of nowhere, and started gathering above the wind forest. Elven elders looked up, their faces unusually grave. They could sense danger in the air, but they had no clue what was going on. One thing they knew for sure, though, and that was that something really bad was about to happen. "Make me your servant, Lord of Death!" Bork shouted with his hands up above his head. "Give me your power, and I'll give you this world." With a crash of thunder, a black flash of lightning shot down from the black clouds towards the tree of life. "Don't you dare touch it!" Irina shouted. A white light flew up and met the black lightning. Boom! However, more flashes of lightning rained down, too many to count. The tree of life suddenly shone a bright green as countless branches reached up and formed a thick, tightly knit shield over Irina. Black lightning bolts struck the shield ceaselessly, snapping and charring one branch after another. Black lines had covered its whole trunk, and were now climbing along the branches as though they were alive. The green light around the tree faded, but the shield that held above Irina remained steadfast. It did not give in at all. Tears welled in Irina's eyes as she watched pieces of wood fall from the sky. She stood there, magic staff clutched in her hand, but it had stopped shining. "Come on! Come on! The world is mine!" The trembling Borg's eyes had turned red like a devil's. The black mist condensed into the form of a hideous devil behind him as it looked at him covetously. "They must be out of their mind thinking they can touch my gold mine. As a system, I'll kill you all." A string of text floated across Mag's mind, but due to the small text, it didn't earn his notice. Suddenly, Rain came down in torrents and pierced the black clouds like countless arrows. The black clouds vanished into thin air in a matter of seconds as though they had met their nemesis. The thick, dark clouds vanished in a blink of an eye. What? Borg looked up, flabbergasted. However, the black figure behind him let out a sharp, horrified cry. When the raindrops hit Borg, it was like water splashing into boiling oil. It was a loud splatter. Borg looked up as he let out a painful roar. The black lines that covered his face seemed to be sliced off from his skin by a blade. The pain drove him crazy. As for the figure behind him, it kept changing forms amidst the rain's cleansing. However, it failed to avoid the rain. Like a figure made of mud, it kept reducing in size thanks to the rain until it completely dissipated. This is... Irina looked up in surprise. The black lightning that struck at the shield vanished suddenly before turning into a downpour. When the raindrops hit the Tree of Life, the black lines on the appeared to meet their nemesis. They were instantly obliterated. The trunk followed. The aura of death that she and the Tree of Life had been desperately fending off recently had vanished rapidly. The Tree of Life's yellowed colors restored to their healthy green under the rain's nourishment. The broken branches were reborn. The almost bald tree grew out new sprouts as a light green glow illuminated the cave. The branches rustled gently, revealing their vitality. Did the God of Life save us? Irina was as surprised as she was relieved. The branches swayed happily as green light enveloped the feeble Irina. As if on cue, the rain stopped as suddenly as it had started. Borg kneeled on the ground, drenched in blood. "Why?" he shouted up. "Why? I was so close. My plan almost succeeded. Compared to my plans, your invasion of the world counts for SHT." A line of text floated across Mag's mind. "What are you on about, system?" Mag frowned and asked when he saw the ant-sized string of text flash across his mind. "Oh, nothing," answered the system. "I just spread some fertilizer and sprayed some non-toxic and pollution-free pesticides. You said your ingredients were organic. Did you lie to me?" The system bristled up. "I saved your wife while I was making my plants grow well, and you call me a liar? Do not question my professionalism in farming. No one is more professional than me, not even you in Longping, the father of hybrid rice. I thought you were a cuisine system." "I am. But I'm also very professional in other things. Do you want me to tell you how to farm?" "No, thanks. Not interested. By the way, can you tell me what I can do to level up quickly? Maybe killing magical beasts." "I'm not interested in killing magical beasts." "Mag, then can I level up through farming?" "Farming has nothing to do with leveling up," the system said calmly. F***ck. Watch your language. Get lost. By then, Amy had fallen asleep. Mag kissed her on her head, and creeped up the stairs to practice his swordplay. The fights in Rodu and the Wind Forest had made him realize the importance of him getting stronger. Ozai was very powerful, to be sure, but he couldn't rely on it alone. Besides, there were enemies that even Ozai couldn't handle. In order to survive the chaos that might come, he needed to get Alex's full power back as soon as possible, but that was not enough. He needed to make sure that what had happened to Alex would never happen to him again. A plan was coming together in his head, but he didn't know if it would work. The claymore danced in the night. He was flexible as a snake and swift as lightning. Nobody could see or hear him now that Mag had had the system add a cover around the balcony. An hour later, Mag went downstairs, soaked with sweat. He took a quick shower and went to bed to sleep. "Just a quick reminder, the food competition will start tomorrow," reminded the system just as Mag was about to fall asleep. Mag's eyes snapped open. He frowned. "The eggplant with garlic sauce is not perfect yet, and I haven't gotten anyone to try it, but I think I'll be fine." Mag woke up early the next morning and made several versions of eggplant with garlic sauce. He tried them all before confirming the final version. Although it tasted better than the ones he had had in his past life, it was still lacking in comparison to the one he had eaten at the filthy restaurant. It was ultimately short of something. There was likely no mistake with the recipe and procedure. All Mag could do was write it off as nostalgia. He temporarily had no way to improve it. Hopefully the people here will like it like I do. I don't want to have to dance to Gakuraku Jodo in drag. Mag dumped the dishes into the trash can, and was about to go out to buy some eggplants. Knock. Knock. A knock came at the door. Is it Firis? She came so early today. Mag untied his apron and hung it neatly on a peg. He walked to the door in surprise. He had woken up early today, giving him plenty of time before his appointment with Firis. It wasn't likely that she would come so early, right? When he opened the door, he found two elves standing outside with their hands held together. Good morning, BL. Miss Shirley and Anna, can I help you? Blower was holding Anna's hand, dressed in female attire. Shirley. He was a stunner in drag. He was probably the most beautiful drag queen Mag had ever seen. He would have totally mistaken him for a woman if he hadn't known him. Even his fake breasts looked so natural. Mag didn't know what was under his dress, but from the looks of it, it couldn't have been coconut shells or buns since they wouldn't give that full, ample look. But to say breast implants, that would be too technologically advanced for this world. It wasn't possible that silicone implants were invested because some drag queen wanted to make themselves look more natural, right? Of course, none of that was important. What's important was why Blower came here with Anna so early in the morning. To say goodbye? He was leaving now that Sally was leaving? Good morning, Uncle Mag, said Anna with a smile. Blower looked displeased. I'm here to take over her job. Hasn't she told you about it? His voice was feminine and melodious. Wait, what? Whose job are you here to take over? Blower raised an eyebrow. Is there someone else who has left? Mag's eyes widened as he looked oddly at Blower. Did Aisha send you here? You are taking over her. I didn't want to be a waitress, but she has left for bigger things. I need to do what she requested from me, or I wouldn't be at ease. Blower sighed. As attractive as I am, a picturesque scene wherever I stand, to think that I'd have to work as a waitress. What a waste of my beauty and youth. Mag, Anna. Mag held back his urge to curse as he sized up Shirley again. He had never expected Sally to find him a waitress. She was indeed thoughtful. In terms of looks, and ignoring that he was just a drag queen, Shirley was a stunning beauty. She was perfect as a waitress. However, looks weren't the only thing. With the hard work the restaurant needed, she would only be a vase if she didn't have the ability to match it. That would be someone Mag didn't need. I know I'm beautiful, Mag, but could you not stare at me? I'm not interested in men, said Blower. I'm not interested in drag queens either, Mag thought. He also realized that his eyes had landed on her fake breasts while amidst his thoughts. He shifted them away and smiled at Blower. Miss Shirley, I'm grateful for you to come here under Aisha's behest. However, if you wish to be hired at Mamie Restaurant, you will have to pass a test. I need to confirm that you have the ability to take on the job. What? A test? Are you serious? Can't you see how beautiful I am? It was hard not to laugh. You are beautiful, but I need to know you have what it takes to do the job. That's fair enough, I guess. And I hate people who only care about my pretty face. Come on in, then. Closing the door, Mag went into the kitchen and took out several plates and bowls of different shapes. He placed them on a table and then poured some oil over them and the table. Now clear the table as fast as you can. I hate to get grease on my delicate hands, but this is easy. Blower walked over to the table and waved his hand. The oil was gone in an instant as a ribbon of green light brushed past the plates and table. The plates and bowls stacked themselves up neatly. Mag fingered the surface of the table. It was smooth and smelled very refreshing. If I hadn't known better, I'd have thought he used some kind of dish detergent. Good. Now I need to test your math skills. 1 Rigiamo is 300 copper coins, 1 tofu pudding, 200, 1 braised chicken and rice, 800. John Doe ate 2 servings of braised chicken and rice, 3 Rigiamos and a tofu pudding, and then he ordered 1 braised chicken and rice and 1 Rigiamo to go. How much does he have to pay? Is John Doe a pig? How can he eat that much? Blower asked. You don't need to worry about whether he is a pig or not, Mag said calmly. So how much does he have to pay? 800 copper coins each, 2 servings of braised chicken and rice. Blower frowned and thought long and hard before he gave up and told Mag it was impossible for an elf to do it. That was when Anna turned to Mag, and said, 38 gold coins. Mag and Blower looked at Anna. Mag nodded at Anna with a smile. That's right, 38 gold coins. It was not a hard math question, but it was not easy for a child to solve it. Oh, Anna! How could you do this to me? I'm so embarrassed right now. A smile showed on Anna's face. Can I work here as a cashier, Mr. Mag? Big sister Shirley will work as a waitress. You want to work here? But you're still a child. Only 2 years older than Amy. Shouldn't you be in school? Anna nodded. Yes. I want to learn to cook from Mr. Mag and help you out. I still remember the 9 times 9 table Amy taught me. Besides, I don't want to stay at the embassy alone. Blower touched Anna's head. Chaos School said she needs to wait until next semester to be enrolled. Mag smiled and crouched down. Well, I guess you can work here for now, he said to Anna. You'll get a handsome salary and free meals. Anna shook her head. I don't want money. I just want to learn to cook from you. Listen, Anna, Blower said, if you work, you get paid. That's how the world works. Yes. It's unethical to exploit a child, Mag agreed. He stood up and put his hand out. Congratulations, Miss Shirley, you're hired. Blower shook it. Congratulations, Mag, you found yourself an amazing waitress. They laughed. There is still time before the morning service, so get some rest. I'll find some clothes for you. Mag poured them 2 glasses of water before going upstairs. I prefer to wear my own dress, said Blower. I'm afraid you have to follow the rules here, Miss Shirley. Mag chose Han Chinese clothing for Shirley, a white shirt with a red skirt. The sleeves were embroidered with golden thread. As for Anna, Mag bought her a blue dress and a coat. It was getting cold, so the little girl needed something warm. Ding! 3,000 copper coins have been successfully deducted. The female attire is being produced. 3 minutes later. Ding! Goods delivered. Please accept it. Change into these, Mag said. We're a bit short-handed at the moment, so I need you to start working today. Mag decided to look at Blower as a woman when he was dressed in female attire. He felt much better this way. They're so beautiful! Anna exclaimed. Thank you, Mr. Mag. Shirley touched her skirt to feel the fabric. It was smooth. She could tell that it was made of top-grade silk, but she didn't think the white shirt would go well with the red skirt. These are called hanfu, Mag told Shirley. Since they were not easy to put on, Mag showed her step by step. There is a bathroom upstairs. You can change there, said Mag. I'm going to the market to buy some ingredients. Tell Amy I'll be home soon if she wakes up. I'll make some breakfast after I get back. Let's go, big sister Shirley, Anna said when Mag was gone. Okay, Shirley said reluctantly. But I won't wear them if they make me look ugly. It took Shirley a good 10 minutes to get into her new clothes. She looked at herself in the mirror, stunned. The white shirt went surprisingly well with the red dress. They were stylish, elegant, and much more flattering than her favorite dress. This went well with her temperament, surpassing even that favorite dress of hers. The unique design and the magical match ultimately resulted in such incredulous effects. It exceeded her expectations. Even more magical was that the attire seemed custom-made for him. It fit him perfectly, with no error in measurement. What surprised her even more was that they fitted her as well as if they had been made for her. Holy cow! These clothes are so amazing! Looking at the mirror, Shirley fell silent before exclaiming in amazement. That was when the door creaked open. Amy was first surprised to see Shirley standing there, but when she saw the dress Shirley had changed out of, she angrily demanded, "Did you sleep with my father?" Hey! Shirley was stunned, and almost jumped up. Her usually calm demeanor changed instantly as she waved her hands, and said, "You can't make this sort of comments out of the blue, little Amy. Why would I be sleeping with him? But if you're not sleeping with him, then why are you changing your clothes in the bathroom? It's still not yet time to open the restaurant, so my father wouldn't let the customers enter in advance. Furthermore, he wouldn't have allowed others into the bathroom." Amy had a knowing look on her face. This, Shirley was taken aback. Even though the situation wasn't what she had described, why did she feel that it was a very reasonable explanation? "Amy." Anna's voice came from the stairway. Anna, who had already changed into that blue Lolita dress, poked her head out of the stairway. Then, she ran up the stairs with a smile and looked at Shirley in the bathroom. With her eyes shining bright and mouth slightly open in wonder, she said, "Wow, big sister Shirley. You look beautiful after you changed into the uniform." "Uniform?" Amy looked at Anna with some surprise and doubt, and said, "Big sister Anna, why are you in the restaurant too?" "Big sister Shirley and I have become the restaurant's staff. Our clothes are uniforms supplied by Uncle Mag," Anna said with a smile. Shirley recovered her calm demeanor. With a slight nod, she said, "That's it." Then, she looked at Anna with gratitude. She didn't expect her to get her out of the mess. So, that was it. Amy looked at Shirley with a tinge of disappointment, and silently said to herself, "There goes a chance to report an important piece of information to Sister Irina." However, Amy's expression quickly lit up again. She grabbed Anna's hand, and happily said, "That's fantastic. I will be able to see Big Sister Anna every day." Yup. Anna had an equally happy smile on her face. Mag was walking around in the market when he saw a huge eggplant as big as a winter melon, and said in his mind, "System, see how cheap these fresh big eggplants are. They cost less than 1 copper coin for 500 grams, and they're nicely shaped and huge. We will need gene mutations to grow such huge eggplants on Earth, right? I have to buy more of this good stuff." Host, you must be wondering why you still couldn't bring out the best of the eggplant with garlic sauce as you had in mind, despite you having done your best with all the ingredients and steps, the system asked calmly. Mag's steps faltered, and he hesitantly asked, "So, system, are you going to give me the complete recipe?" "No. The system is very happy that the host had come up with the best eggplant with garlic sauce recipe successfully by researching it with his own effort and inquiring mind. Now, you do not lack the technique, but the best eggplant? Nothing's good when it's done to the extreme. An eggplant as big as a winter melon can no longer be called an eggplant. An eggplant that can't be put on a grill is an eggplant that has lost its soul. Also, the eggplant grown by this system came from the south slope of the Flying Fountain Mountain on the Dragon Islands, where there's plenty of sunshine. The volcanic ash had supplied the eggplants with rich soil and nutrients. The eggplants have combined the strong points of both the long eggplants and round eggplants, and preserved the taste of the earth eggplants perfectly. It's the best choice for making eggplant with garlic sauce and spicy grilled eggplant," the system said in a distinct passionate voice of a salesperson. Mag furrowed his brows slightly, but he managed to calmly respond, "How much does your eggplant cost per 500 g? The excellent eggplants are sold individually as a single piece. The eggplants produced by this system are supple, nutritious. How much per piece? How heavy is one?" Mag interrupted calmly. 35 copper coins for a piece, and they weigh approximately 400 grams per piece. The price is marked clearly, honest and non-negotiable, the system said seriously. "It's too expensive. I came up with this dish by myself, so you can't decide on the ingredients. I would rather buy the huge eggplant that only costs 1 copper coin per 500 grams. There's not much difference in texture." Mag pursed his lips and walked to the seller at the side decisively. Hey! There's no need to rush. We can still negotiate the price." The system panicked. "You did come up with this dish by yourself. But, as a person who strives to be the god of cookery, how could you allow the food that you cook to have flaws when you could achieve perfection? 30 copper coins for a piece, and not a single coin more. At the same time, you are going to open the purchase restrictions for the other ingredients for making eggplant with garlic sauce." Mag's lips curled a little. "Deal." The system spat out through clenched teeth. "Good." Mag walked past the smiling vegetable seller and straight toward the entrance of the market. It was the best to get the ingredients that the system provided. The little flaw in the texture indeed made Mag feel a little uncomfortable. Being a perfectionist was such a bother. Mag saw a few workers from the Food Association adjusting the magical screen when he was cycling back to the restaurant. It looked like the new delicious cuisine rankings would be going online soon. Mag even ran into Ferris along the way. Mag gave her a ride since the child seat removed yesterday was not put back yet. Thank you. Boss," Ferris, who had never got so close to a man before, stammered with a blush when she got off the bicycle. "You're welcome." Mag opened the door with a smile and prepared to go in with the bicycle. "Miss Sally? Is she gone?" Ferris suddenly asked in a soft voice. Mag stopped, turned around, and looked at Ferris. He nodded, and replied, "Yes, she went back last night." Ferris bit her lips, and her eyes reddened. "Don't worry. Everything will be fine." Mag patted her shoulder gently, and went in with the bicycle. "Princess! Are you still all right?" Ferris stood at the restaurant's entrance for a moment to calm her emotions before she opened the door and went in. "Ferris!" Shirley, who was drinking water gracefully, almost choked when she saw Ferris walk through the door. She coughed, and her face turned red. Ferris, who had just walked in, was stunned to see such a beautiful elf, and a little elf too. How did they get in when the restaurant was not open yet? "This is Big Sister Ferris, also known as Big Sister Beansprout. She's in charge of chopping vegetables and slicing ducks. Her knife skills are marvelous, only father is slightly better than her." Amy introduced her to Anna and Shirley. Then, she looked at Ferris, and said, "Big Sister Beansprout, this is Big Sister Anna and Big Sister Shirley. They will be the employees of the restaurant from today onwards." Ferris quickly nodded slightly, and said, "Nice to meet you." "Nice to meet you, Big Sister Ferris," Anna greeted her cordially. "Nice to meet you." Shirley nodded slightly, and tried to make her appearance appear calm. Although she knew what happened in the Wind Forest, she was still taken aback and shocked to meet Ferris directly. "Will the embarrassing news of me being a waitress get back to the Wind Forest?" Shirley looked at Ferris with a worried look. "Boss, Aisha is missing. She didn't return to the dormitory last night. I knocked on her door when I didn't see her get up in the morning. I went in when I didn't get an answer. She wasn't in her room, and I couldn't find her after searching the entire dormitory." What will we do now?" Yabimiya said hurriedly as she came into the restaurant with a panicked look just as everyone was getting acquainted with one another. Babla followed her in with a head of messy hair, looking as if she was just dragged out of her bed. She, too, had worry written all over her face. Mia, Aisha isn't missing. She went home. She bade her farewell to me only last night. She let me tell you that she will visit whenever she can in the future, Mag said to Yabimiya and Babla as he walked out of the kitchen. She only went home? What a relief, Yabimiya was relieved. However, her face showed a hint of desolation shortly after. With red eyes, she softly said, but, I haven't said my goodbye to her yet. It's good that she went home. Babla patted Mia's shoulder gently with a relieved look. But, there was still a little loneliness in her eyes. Mag looked at Mia with a smile, and gently said, Aisha said she doesn't like to say goodbye, so she went away quietly. I guess she wanted us to remember her smile. Mia looked at Mag and nodded lightly. Now, we shall introduce the new colleagues who have just joined our restaurant today. They are Shirley and Anna, whom everyone is already very familiar with. They will be part of Mamie Restaurant from today onwards. I hope everyone can get along cordially as we work together. Let's have a good time together, Mag continued with a smile. Anna took a step forward with a sweet smile, and said, I'm the cashier, Anna. Pleased to meet you. I'm Shirley. Shirley stepped forward and nodded slightly. Yabimiya's eyes lit up as she looked toward Shirley. She said with amazement, Wow! What a beautiful big sister! Is this the new attire that boss has prepared for Shirley? It's so pretty and matching. Shirley could be considered as the restaurant's regular. Apparently, Master Blower and she were siblings, although they always came to the restaurant separately. However, beautiful people would always leave a lasting impression, so Yabimiya remembered her naturally. Babla also looked at Shirley with a little amazement. She had always thought she was very pretty in the Moon Kingdom. After all, everyone praised her as she was the oldest princess. But, after she arrived on this continent, she discovered that there were many girls who were prettier than her in the Mamie restaurant alone. And that excluded the beautiful women she had seen amongst the customers during this time. Shirley's beauty had an otherworldly feel to it, especially when she wore the special clothes. The clash between pure white and crimson red made people's eyes light up. In the Moon Kingdom, she would be considered as a great beauty. Instead, she was working as a server in Mamie restaurant. This made her wonder. It seems rather nice to be a server here, Shirley thought with a smile as she listened to the praises. Pretty Anna, do you still intend to learn to cook after becoming the cashier here? Yabimiya asked Anna smilingly. Anna became familiar with everyone after staying in the restaurant and learning cooking with Mag every single day. Yes, I want to learn cooking from Uncle Mag and become a chef as good as him. But I will also do my job properly. Anna nodded with determination in her eyes. Everyone smiled. This little one had a lot of ambition despite her young age. Firis couldn't help but look at Anna. She didn't expect this little elf would aspire to be a chef too. She would have a little companion as she learned to cook now. The sadness of Sally's departure was swiftly lightened by the addition of new staff and the process of familiarization. Apart from being a little narcissistic and a clean freak, Shirley's character was perfectly fine. She quickly got along well with everyone even though she didn't talk much. Today's new special, eggplant with garlic sauce. Available from noon. Mag wrote a line of words on the notice board, and let Yabimiya hang it on the door. Eggplant with garlic sauce? Does this new dish have anything to do with fish? Yabimiya asked curiously. I love to eat fish. Do we get to eat fish this morning? Amy's eyes lit up, and she came forward with anticipation. We should eat something light for breakfast, so we will have to wait till noon to eat that. Mag shook his head and smiled. Although he would like to have someone try out his new dish, eggplant with garlic sauce was a heavy dish, and was not very suitable to be eaten for breakfast. All right. Amy nodded obediently, though she was a little disappointed. All right, let's eat. It's Shirley and Anna's first day at work today, let's help them if they are unfamiliar with work. The busy opening hours will begin soon, Mag said to everyone as he tapped Amy's nose with a smile. Breakfast was already set on the table. Yangzhou fried rice, rujiamo with ham and tofu pudding. Simple, delicious, and would provide adequate energy for an entire morning. It's such a simple job, so there's no need to worry at all. Shirley fed herself a spoonful of fried rice, and her smile widened on her face. This job wasn't as bad as she thought initially, because she could eat such delicious fried rice and tofu pudding without having to queue for them. A job in a restaurant may look simple, but it's much more complicated than you think when you actually do it. Mag gave her a warning. Although she was a level 7 magic caster, certain things couldn't be solved by magic. They cleared the tables after breakfast, and prepared to open for business. Mag looked at Shirley and Anna with a smile, and said, Mamie Restaurant's customer policy is to provide a comfortable yet reasonable service. We promote mutual respect and equal treatment to every single customer, regardless of their race and financial status. As long as they are a customer of the restaurant, we will treat them without any prejudice. Of course, Mamie Restaurant has its baseline. The service provided by our staff doesn't include being bullied. We can remove those unruly customers from the restaurant. You can refer to the points to note written on the back of the menu for details. I like the very last point, Shirley said as she took up a menu to read. What do we do if a customer refused to pay? Anna asked weakly. Don't fret, big sister Anna. I will be helping you at the side. Amy held Anna's hand with a serious look, and said, I will tell them, you will pay for your meal or we will crush you. The customers quickly found out that Mamie Restaurant had changed its service staff. The regulars liked Sally, who was stern yet efficient and elegant. They were a little sad to hear that she had left her position. However, the new service staff member Shirley had caused quite a stir. It wasn't easy to find another elf as beautiful as her in the entire Chaos City, yet she became Mamie Restaurant's server. It could be considered as a consolation that she took over Sally's job. Harrison got close to Mag, giving him a thumbs up, and said, I'm really impressed with you, Boss Mag. Could you tell me where you recruit your staff from secretly? I would like to recruit a secretary. I usually just go with the flow when it comes to staff recruitment. Mag smiled before he turned and walked to the kitchen. He couldn't say that he picked up Yabimiya, Bablaya had fallen from the sky, Ferris was found in the wind forest, and Shirley was recommended by Sally, right? This sort of recruitment process was simply too far-fetched. It was too embarrassing for him to even bring it up. Boss Mag is perfect, except he speaks too philosophically, Harrison sighed. He was so envious of the beautiful staff that worked in the restaurant. Help me up. I want to see if Shirley's still so heartless to reject me today. I'm so lovesick because I can't be with my love, a pale Constantine said weakly in a luxurious horse-drawn carriage. Why are you doing this to yourself, master? A middle-aged man, who seemed to be a butler, extended his arms and helped him up. He said with a hint of helplessness, Miss Shirley doesn't even know that you have been going to Mamie Restaurant daily to wait for her. You can't blame her for being heartless. This is a one-sided love, she doesn't have any feelings for you. Constantine's expressions froze momentarily, and he turned to look at the butler. He said with a vibrato, You are sprouting nonsense. Even though I have only seen Miss Shirley twice, I'm sure that she is the only woman for me in this life. No matter what, I'm going to find her and express my love for her. Otherwise, I would rather die. What if she turned you down? The butler asked rhetorically. Constantine's face flushed instantaneously, and he angrily said, Nonsense. Why would she turn me down? I love her reverently with all of my heart. I would even give up my life for her. Why would she turn me down? This would absolutely not happen. She will definitely fall in love with me. This isn't how love works. The butler sighed. He helped Constantine out of the carriage with a resigned expression. There would be no meaning in me living if I couldn't see Miss Shirley again. I would rather die and be reborn as a butterfly that follows her around so I could see her daily, Constantine said sadly. Just as he looked up, he saw a woman in a white top and red dress in the midst of clearing a table behind the glass. Miss Shirley. Constantine's eyes lit up immediately, but he blinked shortly after. He tagged the butler, and said with a tinge of nervous happiness, "Did you see Miss Shirley? Or am I hallucinating? Why is Miss Shirley working in Mamie restaurant as a server?" The butler looked into the restaurant, and then nodded. "If that beautiful lady elf is indeed Miss Shirley, then you are right, master." "Excellent. Let's go in," Constantine beamed. He felt that strength had returned to his legs, and swiftly walked toward the restaurant's entrance. "Calm down, master. This is Mamie restaurant. We need to queue to enter." The butler quickly grabbed Constantine. He pouted his lips at the queue to emphasize his point. Constantine looked at the people in the queue who were staring at them in an unfriendly manner, and calmed down immediately. He almost forgot he was at Mamie restaurant. If he cut the queue, he would be blacklisted and banned from the restaurant in the future. Although he didn't know why Shirley was working in Mamie restaurant as a service staff member, Constantine was exhilarated. If this was real, then he would be able to see Miss Shirley every day. This was euphoria. He walked all the way to the back of the queue and joined in. Constantine, who seemed to be very feeble in the beginning, was very energetic now, just as if he just had a booster. He didn't require the butler to prop him up anymore. He stared at Shirley with his bloodshot eyes, and his heart felt as sweet as if it had fallen into a pot of honey. Miss Shirley must have remembered me, right? No, she should be as lovesick for me as I am for her. Otherwise, why would she become a server, given her beauty and status? She has gone to such lengths just to see me. It's so hard on her. It must be this. I haven't expected Miss Shirley to be such an attentive lady. I'm deeply touched, and I have to make my feelings known to her today. I have to tell her that I love her too. Don't worry, Miss Shirley. I know all about your feelings for me, Constantine thought in his heart. His face became increasingly flushed, and he began to take in deeper breaths. The queue moved forward slowly. Finally, it was Constantine's turn. He straightened his clothes and took a deep breath. Constantine tried his best to calm down before he pulled open the door. Bang! The door crashed into his forehead. Ouch! Constantine covered the bump on his forehead. He was seeing stars in front of him. The customers still in the queue tried to hide their laughter by covering their mouths with their hands, while those in the restaurant looked over curiously, trying to see who was the idiot that managed to crash into the door in such a manner. Someone's here to cause trouble. Shirley was also sizing up Constantine at the door. Apart from taking over Sally's job, she also promised to protect the restaurant. Did she have to act so soon? Miss Shirley is looking at you, master, the butler reminded him softly. Constantine straightened up instantly. He felt the pain had disappeared in that instant, and the stars were gone. He blinked and happened to gaze straight into the face that occupied his mind day and night. Constantine took 2 steps forward with a love-struck gaze, and said to Shirley, "Miss Shirley, I know all about your feelings. I didn't expect that you miss me as much as I miss you. I feel your pain. Let me protect you." The restaurant was silent. Everyone was staring at the 2 people standing at the entrance and guessing about their relationships and possible grievances. It got many of the customers' fiery gossipy souls burning wildly. Shirley looked at Constantine, who sported a bump on his forehead, and frowned. She calmly said, "Hey uncle, I think you've got the wrong person. I don't know you." Critical hit. Constantine took 2 steps back and looked at Shirley with disbelief. His face, which was blushing originally, paled instantly. If the butler had not propped him up in time, he wouldn't even be able to stand properly. Miss Shirley doesn't remember me at all? How could this be? I'm thinking about her every single day. Can't she feel that at all? Is my overwhelming love for her all wasted? Constantine looked at Shirley with a wretched look as if he was a wronged child. Shirley furrowed her brows. She really couldn't recall who this man, who seemed rather impotent, was. Ha! So it's actually one-sided love plus delusion. A young lady burst out laughing on the spot. People had thought it was a love tragedy initially, and then it suddenly had a twist, and became a comedy. The customers, who were looking at them, smiled too. They didn't expect that this lady elf would bring them such amusement when she had only just joined the restaurant. This had to be this year's most pathetic love declaration? There wasn't even a rejection. It was simply a case of mistaken identity. Bro, hers could be bigger than yours if she decides to take it out. Mag looked at Constantine from the kitchen and sighed in his heart. He felt a little sorry for him. Shirley is so popular. Someone declared his love for her on her first day at work, Yabimiya said softly with a smile. That uncle is ugly, Babla said with disgust after she looked at Constantine. Shirley continued clearing the tables. She put the plates gently on the tray. She waved her hand across the table with a gentle move, and a green light flashed. A stream of clear water flowed over the table and chairs, making them as clean as new. The butler held onto Constantine's arm, and calmly said, "Sober up, master. You've got to maintain your dignity now." Some sparks returned to Constantine's eyes gradually. He quickly put on a smile when he saw Shirley getting ready to leave with the tray. He said, "I was only joking earlier, Miss Shirley. You must have forgotten about me since we haven't seen each other for a long time. Thus, let me introduce myself again. I'm not interested." Shirley turned around and went to the kitchen without even giving him a second look. Constantine looked at Shirley's retreating back with a gaping mouth. His heart felt heavy. This poor man. He actually looks all right. Isn't he the famous swinging bachelor of our Chaos City, Constantine? He's filthy rich and owns dozens of jewelry shops. He's a famous Casanova who never had a failed conquest. I didn't expect him to meet his match here. He had to pay for his sins eventually. If those ladies he had led on all these years knew he had this coming, they would laugh their ses off. The customers discussed quietly as they looked at Constantine. Some of the customers who knew Constantine began to expose his past to satisfy others' curiosity for gossip. "Master, should we stay or go?" the butler asked softly as he looked at Constantine with a worried expression. Although he didn't have much hope for Constantine, he did watch him grow up, so he couldn't bear to see him wither away. "Why should I leave? I shall be wherever Miss Shirley is." Constantine plunked his butt onto a chair at a side, then laid his head on the table, and looked toward the kitchen with a dazed look. He feebly said, "Furthermore, I'm starving. Please give me a set of Yangzhou fried rice and a set of braised chicken and rice. You finally decided to eat, master." The butler beamed, and promptly waved the service staff over to take his orders. "A momentary defeat is fine. As long as I persevere, I believe Miss Shirley will be touched by my heartfelt sincerity eventually. I have decided that she is the one for me. If I can't marry her, I'd rather be alone for the rest of my life," Constantine said with a determined look. "Destined to be single." Mag saw a line of colored words rising up from Constantine's head. "System, you're a little naughty." Mag raised his eyebrows and couldn't help laughing. Yangzhou fried rice and braised chicken and rice were served swiftly. Constantine, who had not eaten for a few days, had a hearty appetite. He finished the fried rice and braised chicken and rice in no time. He looked fresh and no longer sickly. The food cooked by Boss Mag is not only delicious, it also fills you with energy. It's marvelous. Constantine marveled. He looked at Mag in the kitchen, and said in his heart silently, "He also helped me found Miss Shirley. I'll definitely give him a big red packet after I win Miss Shirley's heart." "Check, please." Constantine snapped his fingers. Anna came over and looked at the plates in front of Constantine. After thinking for a moment, she said, 1 set of braised chicken and rice, 1 set of Yangzhou fried rice, 1 set of savory tofu pudding. The total is 16 gold coins. The remainder is the tip for you. Keep the change. Constantine gave 2 dragon coins to Anna with a smile. He gave Shirley a look, and then walked to the door decisively. The greatest error when it came to winning a girl's heart, groveling. That would only cheapen yourself and make the girl despise you. You wouldn't be able to get the girl like this, especially the beautiful ones. As an experienced Casanova, Constantine began to go to his chase instincts after he calmed down. He already knew what to do to capture this rose with thorns. A good gentleman's bearing with a wealthy facade. This was the technique he used that made him a perpetual success in winning the ladies' hearts all these years. But Anna held on to the 2 dragon coins. Before she could finish her sentence, Constantine had already gone out. What a rude person! He won't even finish listening to what Anna has to say. Shirley looked at the back that went out of the door with an annoyed gaze. What's a tip, big sister Shirley? Why is he giving me a tip? What should I do with it? Anna asked Shirley with a puzzled look. That guy is probably too arrogant. You can ask Boss Mag how to handle this. Shirley pointed toward the kitchen. Anna jogged to the kitchen entrance, and asked Mag, Uncle Mag, that uncle spent 16 gold coins, and he left after giving me 2 dragon coins. He said the remainder is a tip for me. So, what should I do with it? Oh, a tip. This is a recognition from a customer that Anna has done a good job. Anna, you can keep this money, Mag replied with a smile. Even though this was a first, Mag didn't want to put a stop to it. Tipping was common in overseas restaurants. This kind of recognition was akin to praise. It was a recognition of good service provided by the server. I didn't expect a seemingly simple job like this could be so tiring after doing it repeatedly for hundreds of times. This is not a job for an elf. Shirley looked at Mag grudgingly through a transparent glass. The most tired person should be Uncle Mag. He had to cook so many delicacies for all the customers by himself, Anna said as she held a glass, shaking her head. She looked at Mag with reverence and adoration. Good girl. Mag smiled as he patted Anna's head. This little one really warmed people's hearts with her words. He was even tempted to give her a tip. Hee hee. Anna smiled obediently like a kitten. Shirley, who was slumped over the table, suddenly sat up and looked at Mag cautiously. Then, she said with a relaxed expression, was that hard? I don't find it hard at all. This is just a piece of cake for me. Anna turned to Shirley with a smile, and said, Big sister Shirley also did a fantastic job. Shouldn't I be fantastic naturally? Shirley said with a smile in her eyes. Yes. Shirley's magic is really fantastic. The restaurant is as clean as if Aisha had cleaned it, Yabimiya agreed wholeheartedly. She looked at Shirley with envy in her eyes. If only she could use magic too. Mag smilingly said, It's your personal time from now till 11. You are free to do as you please. We will eat lunch at 11. If you want to have lunch, come back earlier. Then, I shall go to the ice cream shop now. Anna, Shirley, do you guys wanna go and have some fun together? Mia asked Shirley and Anna as she removed her apron. I would like to learn to cook from Uncle Mag with Big Sister Firis, so I won't be joining Big Sister Mia. Anna shook her head. I have a place to be, so I'm not joining you, either. Shirley stood up and shook her head. After everybody dispersed, Mag began to teach Firis and Anna. Firis continued learning to roast beef kebabs. Her beef kebabs were getting better after her days of practice, but they were still far from being perfect. However, when it came to the concoction of the sauces, she was very talented. She could already concoct all 3 sauces perfectly. With regards to control, she indeed was very gifted. Anna continued with her previously uncompleted course. This little one didn't have much culinary experience, hence, Mag let her start from learning knife skills. Other skills would then be taught after she had a good foundation on basic knife skills. Ding! Congratulations, host! As you have taken in 2 disciples, you shall receive an interfering teacher crest and a disciple direction opportunity. After you decide to activate it, the other party will enter the test field for the god of cookery in her dreams and receive a testing opportunity. The system's voice suddenly appeared at this time. Mag raised his eyebrow and looked at the shiny metal in his mind. Feeling very surprised, he said, "System, what the heck is this interfering teacher? Wouldn't you be exposed if someone else enters the testing field too? Relax please, host. If you don't bring this up deliberately, no one will know of the existence of the test field for the god of cookery. The directed person will only think she had a dream after she wakes up," the system said. "That's good." Mag looked at Firas, who was placing the kebabs with burnt edges on a side and putting new kebabs onto the grill again. He continued, "Then, I shall give this opportunity to Firas. Given her current progress, she would be able to master roasting beef kebabs with just 1 entry to the test field." A golden light flew out of the crest and disappeared into Firas's forehead. "Direction is successful," the system sounded. Mag relaxed after seeing that both Firas and Anna didn't notice that golden light at all. He proceeded to curiously ask, "System, what's the use for this crest? As a god of cookery, it's not your ultimate motive to conquer the world with Chinese cuisine. The real duty is to spread Chinese cuisine throughout the world, change the world's dining habits, and make more people love cooking and life. The crest is a reward for the host who has made a contribution in promoting food culture. The host will receive a special reward after he receives 3 crests, the system answered. "There's something good like this? So, what should I do to receive more crests?" Mag's eyes brightened. He loved transactions with rewards. The host only needs to promote Chinese cuisine to the best of your ability. As for the rest, just go with the flow. You might as well have said nothing. Mag rolled his eyes. Mag also gained some new ideas after talking to the system. Just like the system had said, if he was the only person who knew how to cook Chinese cuisine in this world, even though the customers loved his food, this world would no longer have Peking duck and Rigiamo after he passed away. How lonely would that be? Mag sighed silently. It was indeed gratifying to be able to decide the heights of culinary arts in a world. However, when it came to releasing the recipes, he wasn't stupid. He hadn't earned enough money to make a stupid move like this. Mag made himself a cup of tea in a good mood. He was content being a supervisor at a side. Right at this moment, someone knocked on the door. Mag opened the door while holding the cup of tea. Sheer, who was wearing a red trench coat, stood at the door with a man with thinning hair, a pair of thick glasses, and a black document bag underneath his armpit. "Mr. Mag, I've got a matter to discuss with you. May I have a little of your time, please?" Sheer smiled at Mag. Mag's gaze remained at the trench coat that Sheer was wearing for a moment. Wasn't that the design that he had given to Gloria? It seemed Gloria had already begun selling it. The cutting was proper, and the workmanship was very fine. It looked clean-cut on Sheer, giving her some additional presence. "Of course. Please come in." Mag stepped aside with a smile and nodded slightly to that middle-aged man with a receding hairline. Sheer saw Firas and Anna in the kitchen after she stepped into the restaurant. She pointed to the man next to her. "Let me make the introduction. This is Burrell. He's the chief engineer in charge of the steam engine locomotive project. How do you do, Mr. Mag? It's a pleasure to meet you. You're an admirable genius designer." Burrell stepped forward to grasp Mag's hand with both of his with admiration in his eyes. "It's my pleasure to meet you too. Please have a seat." Mag nodded and smiled. This man looked like his college mentor, giving him a sense of familiarity. Sheer sat and went straight to the point as she looked at Mag. "We have come to tell Mr. Mag that construction of the first steam engine locomotive is completed, and it is in the process of preliminary debugging. We hope Mr. Mag would spare some time to join us at the production base to assess it as the chief designer." "That's fast." Mag looked at Sheer in a shock. He had only given Sheer the final drawing before he left for Rodu. It had only been 2 weeks, and Sheer had already produced the first steam engine locomotive. It was even going through preliminary debugging. That was unbelievably fast. "We hope to open a route from Chaos City to Vic Mountain and have it running before we start the negotiations 3 months later. If the tests go smoothly, the steam engine locomotive and tracks will enter into the production phase. The bank and the city lord's castle are both very determined." Sheer smiled and nodded. Mag pondered for a while before shaking his head gently at Sheer, and said, "It's not going to be an easy feat to build and run a railroad track hundreds of kilometers long from scratch in 3 months. Just the production of train tracks alone is a big project, and do not forget the geographical criteria needed to lay the tracks. Although I recognize the abilities of the City Lord's Castle and Buffett Bank, I have to remind Miss Sheer that railroad is a public service project. Its safety concerns all the lives on board. We simply can't make do because we have a deadline to meet." Although he didn't know much about politics, he could roughly understand why Sheer wanted to open a section of railroad before the start of the peace treaty negotiations. It was to increase Chaos City and Buffett Bank's bargaining chips on the table. The rise and fall of a conglomerate the size of Buffett Bank was no longer decided by a country or a city. However, stability and peace were the most important factors in the banking business. If Norland Continent fell into total chaos because of war, then Buffett Bank wouldn't be far from its collapse. Chaos City was born in the peace after the war. It would be in a very awkward position if war started again. Furthermore, it could even be attacked on all sides. Even though Chaos City had been getting stronger in the past 100 years, it was still just one city. It still wasn't at the level where it could contend with the respective races. Since Chaos City was born in peace, it naturally wouldn't want the war to start again. Coming up with steam engine locomotives was to make the different races calm down and promote harmony to a great extent. However, Mag was still an engineering guy deep down. No matter what the capitalists and politicians thought, a steam engine locomotive wasn't just responsible for carrying goods. It also undertook the huge responsibility of basic passenger transportation. Safety was very important, and sloppy work was out of the question. Burl, who was standing at a side, looked at Mag seriously, and said, "We understand Mr. Mag's concerns. Getting the train to run in 3 months is the shortest construction period that our engineering department came up with after repeated scrutiny and argumentation. The land is mostly plains from the east of Chaos City toward Vic Mountain, and they're geologically stable. The workload in laying the tracks will be greatly reduced. Furthermore, we've recruited a large number of blacksmiths and fire magic casters from multiple races. We will also be using a great number of magical tools and setting up numerous tracks production points along the route to make sure of the quality and quantity of the tracks." Burl took out a few drawings he had in his document bag as he spoke. A topographic map of the terrain between Chaos City and Vic Mountain, a planning map of the production points, and a program of presets and solutions with regard to the laying of tracks. Mag went over the drawings very carefully once, and reached a conclusion in his heart: ostentatiously rich. He was a rich second generation who had seen the world in his previous life. However, even with his father's capital, building an expressway was already his limit. It was impossible to use countless manpower and material resources to build a railroad in a barren land in 3 months under the conditions where heavy industry was seriously lacking. Using fire magic casters and dwarf blacksmiths as laborers, this level of ostentatious wealth. Other than national wealth, Mag couldn't imagine that a conglomerate like Buffett Bank would dare to attempt this. The monetary network stretching across Norland Continent had brought a tremendous unimaginable wealth to Buffett Bank. Either Shear was crazy or Buffett Bank was rich beyond his imagination. The smiling Miss Shear sitting across the table looked very normal, so obviously it was the latter. "Mr. Mag, please trust our determination and work attitude," Shear said to Mag smilingly. Mag passed the drawings back to Burrell with a complicated expression, and said, "Seems like Miss Shear's really focused on this steam engine locomotive project." Shear was making a huge gamble. If they lost, Buffett Bank would be dragged into an abyss. This wasn't making cars. "I believe Mr. Mag's excellent creations will bring about a huge change to this world," Shear said to Mag smilingly with a meaningful look. Mag removed his gaze. He smilingly said, "When would Miss Shear like me to go and inspect the completed locomotive?" "If it's convenient for Mr. Mag, we can also go right now," Shear replied. Mag glanced at the clock on the wall before shaking his head, and saying, "It's not really convenient now. I've to prepare for the noon business very soon. If it's possible, I can go over at 1 o'clock. Mr. Mag's really a good boss. I'll send someone to fetch you at 1. Shear stood up, smiled, and nodded at Mag. Then, she turned and walked toward the door. "Goodbye, Mr. Mag." Burrell kept the drawings. He shook Mag's hand again, and quickly caught up with Shear. Speed could indeed be increased when technology meets a huge amount of money. Mag sighed silently, looking at the back of Shear. This world was going to enter into the age of steam under the promotion of Shear. Mag had no idea if it was going to be good or bad. After all, this was a world of swords and magic. The experience from Earth was not applicable here. But, there was one thing he was sure of. If the route to Vic Mountain could begin running in 3 months, it would definitely exert an influence on the ongoing peace negotiations. As one of the dominant players, Buffett Bank would be intertwined with Chaos City, and gain an opportunity to go onto the table with the respective races. Satisfy every request from the engineering department. Has the City Lord's castle reached a conclusion on the negotiation with the goblins? Shear asked the secretary sitting across the horse-drawn carriage after she got in. "We've just received the news. The negotiations basically finalized. Under the threat of the impending turmoil and the feud with the elves and forest trolls, the goblins have agreed to form an alliance with Chaos City. They're going to open up the mineral resources underground and develop together with our bank and Chaos City." The secretary nodded. "Excellent." Shear nodded. She lifted the curtain and looked at Mamie Restaurant. "You shall come and fetch Mr. Mag to the project site at 1 o'clock this afternoon. I am very disappointed with the vegetarian food I had in those restaurants this morning. None of them could be rated. I wonder how would this restaurant fare," a middle-aged man with neatly back-combed salt and pepper hair said to himself softly as he stood in the queue and looked at Mamie Restaurant's signboard. Derek was one of the senior food reviewers from Rodo Culinary Review magazine, recognized as the top reviewer for vegetarian food. As a vegetarian, Derek focused on vegetarian food reviews, and thus he was the favorite critic of the vegetarians. He was the expert in this field. He had specially come to Chaos City from Rodo under the invitation of Robert. He was going to do a complete review and rankings on vegetarian classification for the completely revised Delicious Cuisine rankings. Derek had lived in Chaos City for a period of time when he was little. He was a good friend of Old Laurie. One could say that he became a food critic due to Old Laurie's influence when he was a young boy. He was also involved for a period of time when Old Laurie was doing the Delicious Cuisine rankings back then, so he did have some feelings for it. Thus, because of this, he agreed on the spot when Robert went to him. However, he hadn't come with much expectations. The food scene in Chaos City had always been far behind Rodo as it didn't have a strong background and lacked creative chefs. Although he hadn't stepped into Chaos City for almost 20 years, after he had eaten at the few restaurants based on the list given by the Food Association this morning, it was exactly what he had expected. There weren't any vegetarian dishes that could impress him. There were even many restaurants that had signature meat dishes having a perfunctory attitude toward vegetarian food. They gave him rather unpleasant dining experiences. It was a relief that he had only agreed to do one review for Robert. He would return to Rodu afterward, most probably never to return again. Mamie Restaurant was the sixth restaurant he had chosen to visit because there was a fine line of words printed after the name. This restaurant has a high number of customers. Reviewers are advised to queue in advance to prevent wasting time waiting in the queue. Hence, he had moved this restaurant from the back to the front so he could see what kind of restaurant it was that required the Food Association to purposely write a reminder. The restaurant opened at 11:30, but he had already arrived at 11. He didn't anticipate there would already be customers waiting in the queue by the door. There were 2 lines with 20-odd people in them. This made Derek a little surprised. There were a few popular restaurants in Rodu that also had customers lining up in advance, but they were immensely popular restaurants with equally strong reputation and capabilities. However, there were only less than 5 of them. He didn't expect this restaurant in a remote corner in Chaos City to have this kind of popularity too. As time went by, there were more and more customers queuing up behind him. The queue of 300 to 400 people had already reached the square even before it was open for business. What made him even more amazed was that the 2 lines didn't seem to be formed randomly. They were deliberately separated into 2 gangs because of a thing called tofu pudding. They were arguing passionately about it, and almost came to blows. I didn't expect this restaurant to be this popular. I wonder what's its signature dish? Does it make an effort for vegetarian food? Derek thought in his heart curiously. As a vegetarian, he hadn't touched any meat dishes for more than 20 years. Derek tilted his head and asked a young man next to him, "Mate, this is my first visit to this restaurant. Are there any vegetarian dishes worth recommending?" Vegetarian dishes? The young man pondered seriously for a while before hesitantly saying, "I wonder, can the sweet tofu pudding be considered as vegetarian?" Still, the savory tofu pudding is definitely vegetarian. Uncle, you're in the wrong queue if this is your first visit. The savory tofu pudding is the correct choice for you. A young lady standing behind Derek glared at the young man, and unconvincingly said, "Uncle, don't listen to his lies. The tofu pudding should be eaten sweet. Only the sweet tofu pudding is vegetarian, the savory tofu pudding is heresy." Savory and sweet tofu pudding. Derek was deep in thought. So, the tofu pudding that they were arguing about was a dish, and the reason behind the argument was only the flavors. Derek was slightly embarrassed to see the 2 young people arguing. He quickly said, "If that is the case, I shall order both flavors. You 2 can stop arguing." "Fed hope, uncle." The young lady rolled her eyes. Boss Mag had made a rule. Everybody is only allowed to order 1 set of tofu pudding. You have to choose a flavor if you want to have it, uncle. Everyone would like to have a second helping too. There are only 200 sets of tofu pudding at every meal. You won't even be able to have it if you are late, the young man explained. There's even a rule like this. Derek raised his eyebrows, a little surprised. But, after he looked at the snaking queue, he seemed to understand why. There were so many customers, and if there were no purchase restrictions, the customers at the back of the queue would have waited in vain. Actually, the tofu pudding can't be considered a vegetarian dish. It's at most a snack. If uncle would like to eat vegetarian food, you may not eat to the full in Mamie restaurant. Even Yangzhou fried rice has eggs in it. You may not be able to stand the stinky tofu, and that is also a snack, the young lady added. Really? Derek was a little disappointed to hear that. It seemed like this restaurant was also focused on meat dishes. Boss Mag is debuting a new dish again today. It could be a vegetarian dish, the young man consoled him. Didn't you read what's written on the sign? They are debuting eggplant with garlic sauce today. It might not be vegetarian, the young lady said. The young man hummed for a moment, and then scratched his head. It really might not be. It's fine. I will just try that tofu pudding. Derek smiled. It would be false to say he wasn't disappointed that he couldn't even have one vegetarian dish after queuing up for so long. However, if that tofu pudding could incite such a never-ending argument amongst the customers, it had to have its unique quality. Since it was almost about to open for business, it was no harm to try it before moving on to the next restaurant. It's so amazing. There's only eggplants and no fish in sight, but why does it have a delicious fish fragrance? Also, it goes so well with rice. Yabimiya had a taste and couldn't help praising it. The others also looked at the half-finished eggplant with garlic sauce in amazement. The eggplants were cut into the shape of a fish. Scales were carved out using delicate knife skills, and the golden red garlic sauce was drizzled over it. It was tangy, sweet, savory, and spicy at the same time. "Father, one more bowl of rice for me, please. This eggplant with garlic sauce is so delicious." Amy showed her empty bowl, licked the drip of sauce at the corner of her mouth, and smiled. "Okay." Mag took the bowl with a smile and went to refill it. There was no praise in the world that could make him happier than those given by Amy. "Amy. Your fearsome lunch ended with everyone asking for seconds." The tangy, sweet, savory, and spicy eggplant with garlic sauce won positive reviews from everyone. Mag was naturally very happy about this. Technically, this was the first recipe he had learnt on his own, so the sense of achievement was unparalleled. "Welcome to Mamie Restaurant." Mag opened the door of the restaurant and smiled at the customers waiting at the door. The customers filed into the restaurant and greeted Mag. They went to their favorite spots. Harrison came in and curiously asked, "Does this new dish eggplant with garlic sauce has fish in it, Boss Mag?" Many customers were also looking at Mag with curiosity. It was worth paying attention every time a new dish was introduced. "No, this is a vegetarian dish." Mag shook his head smilingly. He wasn't going to be secretive about it. "Vegetarian dish? It's purely made of eggplant." "Oh. Eggplant is the food I hate the most. It's so soft that it's scary. I hate eggplant's taste too, but my neighbor loves it. Every time I went over to his place for dinner, it simply, 'Your neighbor must be a forest troll.'" "How did you know?" The customers started a discussion after they heard Mag. Most of them didn't have a good impression of eggplants. "Vegetarian dish? Eggplant?" Derek, who just sat down, glanced at Mag. He couldn't help being curious. Eggplant was also one of the foods that he hated. The horrible texture and hard-to-remove smell were enough to repel him. However, since the boss of this restaurant said it was a vegetarian dish, and most likely the only vegetarian dish available, trying it was basic professionalism, regardless of his personal preference. Mag didn't explain any further. It was normal not to like eggplant. Those who loved it would enjoy it. He returned to the kitchen with a smile on his face. Of course, the main reason was they hadn't tried the eggplant with garlic sauce yet. Otherwise, they would be in love with eggplant. The customers began to place their orders. Due to their resistance to eggplant, there weren't many customers ordering it. Of course, there were more customers deliberating between ordering and foregoing, waiting for the brave ones to try first. Derek was appraising the restaurant. His first impression was comfortable and soothing. The lighting, the furniture, and decorations in the same color, and the plants along the banister made people relax. When he did a closer observation, he could feel the restaurant's cleanliness. There wasn't any dust in sight. There wasn't even dirt in between the table's gaps. It had to be a professional magic caster doing the cleaning to reach such a cleanliness standard. However, what made him uncomfortable was the sharing of tables. He was a little nervous looking at the orc sitting across and the wolf-headed demon sitting next to him. He had a guarded expression. Since he had lived in Chaos City for a period of time, he naturally knew that it was a city where all races lived together, but he was used to living in Rodu, so he was still on guard toward other races. Furthermore, he had never shared a table with an orc and a demon. There isn't even basic segregation in place. This restaurant only deserves 1 star for its dining environment. I can't even focus on tasting the good food when I have to share a table with an orc and a demon. Yabimiya came over with a smile, and asked Derek, "What could we order for you, sir?" "Give me a minute. Let me have a look." Derek took the menu and flipped it open. Pictures of delicious food appeared in front of him. Looking at all those enticing dishes had even made a vegetarian like him salivate. However, he quickly skipped over the meat dishes and went to the snack category. The pictures of the sweet and savory tofu pudding were different. The white tofu pudding was held in a porcelain bowl. The savory tofu pudding was covered by finely chopped vegetables, while the sweet one was drizzled with a layer of reddish gold sweet syrup. Both looked enticing. After some deliberation, Derek chose the sweet tofu pudding. Then, he flipped over a page and looked at the only vegetarian dish in the vegetarian category, eggplant with garlic sauce. In the picture, there were 2 fish lying on a rectangular plate with golden red sauce drizzled on top. There were only 2 fishes and no eggplant in sight in the picture. One helping cost 400 copper coins. At the same time, it indicated that one bowl of white rice cost 50 copper coins, and there was no free refilling. Derek stared at the picture for some time before raising his head to talk to Yabimiya. "Are you sure this is vegetarian food?" "Yes. It's vegetarian. There's no meat in it all." Yabimiya nodded. They hadn't had any customers ordering the eggplant with garlic sauce yet. It almost made her want to tell them how delicious the eggplant with garlic sauce was. It was a pity to miss. She wondered if this customer would be the first to order. After Derek got the confirmation from Yabimiya, he closed the menu, and said, "I would like to have a sweet tofu pudding, an eggplant with garlic sauce, and a bowl of rice." "Sure, please wait for a while." Yabimiya's eyes lit up. Finally, a customer had ordered the eggplant with garlic sauce. According to her previous experience, this meant other customers would soon follow suit. "Wow, bro! You eat eggplant? You're fearsome." The wolf-faced demon sitting with him gave him a shocked expression. "You're really brave." The orc sitting across also gave him a thumbs up. "I'm a little curious, will the eggplant that Boss Mag cooked become a new delicacy?" "You shall be our tester, bro," a young man sitting diagonally across him said happily. Derek nodded awkwardly. The orc and demon were very different from his fearsome impression of them. They were friendly. He didn't expect to be deemed as brave just because he ordered the eggplant with garlic sauce. Yabimiya went into the kitchen, and excitedly said, "Boss, a customer ordered 1 eggplant with garlic sauce." "Roger that." Mag nodded. He took an eggplant from the shelf next to him. It was longer than the round eggplant, but shorter and rounder than the long eggplant. He sliced it open in the middle like a fish cut open lengthwise. He twisted his chopper around, and the thin skin was removed. Soon, the 2 slices of eggplant began to resemble a fish. Scales were carved out with rapid knife movements. They were cut deep, but not clean through. 2 pots were heated up simultaneously. The eggplant was deep-fried in a pot filled with oil. He put a little oil in the other pot and added in finely chopped garlic, ginger, chili, and a spoonful of his secret chili broad bean paste. He fried them till the red oil began to appear before he added in white sugar, vinegar, and a little starch water. The garlic sauce was done. He took out the eggplant that was fried till crispy and golden brown out and plated it. Then, he drizzled the hot and thick sauce over them. Shhhhh. A soft sizzling sound. A helping of tangy, sweet, savory, and spicy eggplant with garlic sauce was ready to be served.